What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 10 LF. Chapter 161. Arrive at Sabayati Archipelago. I'm afraid of this. Click, click. Whitebeard, Squard, Makugai, the three little guys ate their devil fruit. Although the devil fruit's abilities are different, the same thing is that the distorted faces of the three are really it's very hideous. Wow, it's so delicious. What? It's so unpalatable. 35. The three little guys couldn't help but let out a wailing sound. This is really too unpalatable. Ha ha ha. Looking at the appearance of these three little guys, Alan couldn't help laughing, and said jokingly, the taste of devil fruit is indeed very unpalatable. However, I don't want to eat it. 55. Uncle. 39. You are really bad. Whitebeard was very helpless, and always felt that the character of his uncle really didn't know what to say. Both Squard and Makugai nodded seriously. Really? The character of their uncle is really too bad. It should be said that they like to watch the fun, and the more fun they are, the more they like it. Ha ha ha. Well, Alan said casually. In daily life, if you don't make fun of you little guys, wouldn't it be very boring? That's it. Now that you have eaten all the devil fruit, go back to training. Really, one by one is still alive. Want to be a captain, but don't even train hard. 35. 66.99. The three of them were silent. They really knew that the uncle was really bad. This kind of bad is really not a joke, but really bad at home. They are training, and the result. The uncle gave himself three. A person came over and ate devil fruit. This is not. Devil fruit ate it, and it turned out that it is unnecessary to say it. How could such a thing happen? All of a sudden, I really don't know what to say. I can only say that it is really the character of my uncle, but 910 is really black-hearted. He. Alan watched helplessly leave the three little guys, and the corner of his mouth also evoked a smile, while Newgate couldn't help but complained, brother. It's not me, you are really boring. Quote. Well, Alan shrugged and said very casually, if there are children who are not playing. What's the point? 39. Listening to his eldest brother's unreasonable and strong words, Newgate didn't know what to say for a while. If you want to complain, there is a feeling that you can't start, it's too outrageous. Shaking his head silently, Newgate was too lazy to argue with his eldest brother, he was used to it. His eldest brother has such a character, don't say it. It really is like this, it has always been like this. Never mind. Forget it. 35. Newgate shook his head, threw the matter aside, and then asked, brother. How will the next thing come out? Are we going back to New World directly? Or? Alan shook his head casually and asked, theoretically, we should go back to the New World, but. Now, there are some things that really need to be dealt with, Neil. Do we have enough supplies? 5. If you put it in the past, it really doesn't matter. 18. Now it is different. With so many people in my family, do they all drink the northwest wind? That is of course impossible. Because of this is one of the most important things, or rather. This is the most important thing. That is food and supplies. As for, you let these people grow or something. This is even more of a nonsense. In general, supplies are definitely the most important thing. The Moby Dick is also very special, with an extremely large storage method. Basically there will be no problems, even if it is stored for decades, it will not be a problem. Neil pondered and said, brother, in terms of supplies. At most, it will last for 3 or 4 months. If it is more, it should be impossible. 99. 3 or 4 months. That's really not enough. Alan was thinking. It seems. We still need to purchase a batch of supplies. Although Black Shadow Island has plundered a lot of supplies, it is still not enough. Neil nodded and said, yes. Big brother, it is indeed not enough in terms of pure materials. However, this problem is not big, we can make purchases. After all, these materials are not a problem all over the world. Alan nodded and said, let's go to Sabayati Archipelago. As one of the 3 major trading islands in the world, Sabayati Archipelago, if there are not enough resources, it is impossible. It is good. Neil didn't ask. Anyway. My eldest brother has always been like this, and he doesn't care about the dangers that he may encounter. Do you still need to be afraid? It's almost like a joke. Anyway, Alan is such a character, anyway. As long as you understand it, then you are used to it. Big brother. I'll deal with it. Watching Neil leave, Alan leaned on the sofa and thought. Second, is there any news about the latest news? 35 feet. Newgate shook his head and said, there is no clear news for the time being, but our affairs have been directly spread through the news bird, and the major newspapers are scrambling to report. It is not surprising, after all it's such a big news, and for them, the benefits are too huge. Such a huge news, it is almost as if the Rocks Pirate was established back then. Even say, compared with the establishment of the Rocks Pirate back then, it is more interesting, and the reason is very simple. The establishment of the Rocks Pirate back then was too special, and people were very confused for a while. And, although Rock's pirate is said to be actively forgotten by everyone, but after all, this is the past 5 months. In just 5 months, even if you want to forget, it is impossible to really all forgotten, because of that. After the destruction of the Rock's pirate, all the cadres came out of their own door. Only Alan, this monster, has no trace. This is the most strange thing. That's the weirdest thing ever. Result. These 5 months have passed, this terrifying monster appeared, and just appeared, it showed such terrifying power, and in one breath, the Sombra organization, one of the Dark Emperors, was directly dealt with. This way the power is the most terrifying power. Therefore, now the whole world is very curious about what the Whitebeard Pirates will do. After all, not kidding, the strength displayed by the 3 Edward brothers is really strong, such strength. Especially this huge Moby Dick has attracted everyone's attention. Now, everyone is yes, next. What kind of power the Whitebeard Pirates will show is the most interesting thing for everyone. Of course, some people are thinking that the Whitebeard Pirates have grown to the level of the Rock's pirate in the past, but more people are dismissive, completely disdainful, and everyone is looking at the fun. They don't take it seriously at all. For them, no matter what happens, it doesn't really matter. The Whitebeard Pirates want to grow to the level of Rock's pirate. Stop it. The Rock's pirate of the year can be said to have absorbed the monsters on the sea at that time, but what about the Whitebeard Pirates now? It's just a group of little devils. Even if such little devils grow up, their strength is good, but they want to compete the monster from last year. It's like a joke. In the eyes of everyone, this is impossible at all. Since it is impossible, then of course you don't need to worry about it. Correct. Newgate pondered. Brother, after we arrive at the Sabayati archipelago, the war is about to break out. Never mind, Alan said casually. Have an idea. War. It doesn't matter. I want to see if these guys dare. Do you think I'm afraid of this? Goo la la la. Hearing this, Newgate couldn't help laughing and shaking his head. Brother. You really are. But, you are. Since you want to make trouble, then you can make a fuss and let this come and see the world. The absolute power of our Whitebeard Pirates. That's right. The 2 brothers looked at each other and both saw the terrifying killing intent and fighting intent in each other's eyes. And Alan suddenly asked thoughtfully, right. Where is the 3rd guy? Where did he go? This kid has been out of sight for the past 2 days. Do not know. Newgate shrugged and said, I don't know where the 3rd guy has gone. You also know that when nothing is normal, the 3rd child just likes to run around. But it doesn't matter. According to the system of the 3rd child in this case, there is no possibility of a problem. Alan also nodded to this. Indeed. This is an undeniable thing. The system of the 3rd child is very special, plus the green dragon fruit, plus the dragon spell, it seems to activate the green dragon fruit even more. Result. The physical quality of the current 3rd child is really terrifying. The strongest creature in the sea, land and air in the original book seems to be showing it now. Under such circumstances, a lot of everything naturally does not need to be said. But, Alan rubbed his chin and thought, it doesn't matter anyway. The 2 brothers chatted casually. Wow. With the tumult of the waves, the Moby Dick has gradually approached Sabayati Archipelago. As one of the 3 major trading islands in the world, Sabayati Archipelago is naturally rich in materials. At least, for this sea. Except for the Fishmen Island and Hachinosu, you can't really find an island with more abundant materials. And Sabayati Archipelago, because of its own particularity, can be said to be the most standard place where black and white are mixed, and it is also the most special. But definitely the most interesting place is 0F*K. What is this? This is the banner of the Whitebeard Pirates. Mom, is this the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard Pirates? It's too scary. Yes, everyone was shocked and couldn't help smacking their tongues. It's too scary. I can't imagine it at all. What a terrifying pirate ship is this, just sailing over, it makes people feel endless fear, as if. At this moment, it is as if a terrifying monster is gradually pressing over. It's so terrifying. Gudong. Taking a deep sip of saliva, some people have already felt the fear, and their legs seem to be swaying. It is too scary. The real kind of horror, people who have never seen it are really impossible to understand. It was real, from the heart, from the fear of the soul. It's so terrifying. This pirate ship is too large. Yes, like a monster. 35. What? Everyone looked solemn and felt endless fear. It's too terrifying. That's the terror I feel about the Moby Dick, the oppression that this huge pirate ship feels is terrifying. Right now, on the whale's head directly in front of the Moby Dick. The Moby Dick is divided into 2 parts, the outer whale-shaped wall and the inner core, it feels. It is like the outer wall and moat of the Forbidden City, which is almost the same concept. On top of the whale head, Marco looked out into the distance curiously, looking at the Sabayati archipelago in front of him and said with emotion, this is the Sabayati archipelago. It's really big. A random area is just like Moby Dick. The size is the same. This is too amazing. Yes, Tezzolo stood aside and said seriously, Sabayati archipelago has 79 areas, and each area is almost as big as the Moby Dick. It is definitely the most terrifying island. Everyone nodded in agreement. Seriously, Sabayati Archipelago is too huge. For these children, they really did not expect that there is such a huge and terrifying island. It is simply unbelievable. What? The sheer size of this island makes people feel only endless shock. In this world, Sabayati Archipelago is the largest island other than Red Line. Wrong. To put it another way, Sabayati Archipelago is the largest island group in the world, and Red Line is the largest landmass in the world. This is the most appropriate way to describe it. In addition, the 5.9 above the entire sea is the most special. It's the Sabayati Archipelago. The reason is very simple. Although in the original book, 2 years later, because Marine moved the naval headquarters to the New World, almost the entire Sabayati Archipelago has become a lawless place. But, again, the lawless place also has its own rules. Here are celestial dragons, here are superpowers, here are dark emperors, here are underground emperors, almost. All major forces are intertwined here. All major forces are meet here. Under such circumstances, what will the result be? In fact, it is self-evident. Under such a gathering, what is formed is an extremely terrifying monster, but Marine's power is drawn away. And is the last stop on the way to New World, and actually one of the largest islands. Either way, you have to admit that the Sabayati Archipelago is definitely more than enough to accommodate Pang Yamato. Whitebeard also looked at the Sabayati Archipelago in front of him and thought, seriously. Never came to this place, but one day I will come to this place. Yes. Guion also smiled and nodded. For them, each of them was born in the Grand Line. Even if Tiger and other Murlocs were born in the Fishmen Island, there is almost no possibility for them to come to Sabayati Archipelago in general. For them, entering the Grand Line is extremely rare. But Alan has been trying to find trouble in the Grand Line. Because there are many hidden monsters in the Grand Line, and there are also many powerful forces, after all. Compared with the New World, the whole world and the Grand Line are too large, and the two sides are too large. It's not one level at all. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 5th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 162. Marine Alert. All in action. Snapped. This is the Sabayati Archipelago. You must not run around. Don't fool around. Uncle Neil, are you going to buy supplies? Good. 35. The people of the Whitebeard Pirates gradually left the Moby Dick, and with the departure of people, normally, the general pirate ship has left, and it is necessary to leave the personnel guarding the ship. Otherwise, if all have left, but there will be problems. And the Whitebeard Pirates have a large number of ordinary personnel. Now they are buying supplies. What if there is a problem? Obviously, this issue is also something worth paying attention to. There is no doubt about it. Under such circumstances, a lot of everything needs to be carefully considered, but Moby Dick, there is no need to leave defensive personnel. That's it. Alan's magic power of the moon is very terrifying, at this moment. The entire Moby Dick is surrounded by a lot of magic power of the moon. No matter if anyone steps into it casually, he will not be able to control himself at all. Yes, if you're not careful, you don't even know how to die. After all, in the area of gravitational chaos, death is very easy. If you are not careful, you may even die very miserably. Oh Sabayati Archipelago. 35. Alan watched all of this, and thought about it. Second child. I'll leave the purchase of supplies to you, pay attention. Don't let Neil and the others have any problems, remember. As long as it's us Whitebeard, the pirates are absolutely not allowed to have any problems. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed proudly. Brother. You can rest assured. This is absolutely beyond doubt. If there is a problem with Laozi and Neil, it is better for Laozi to die. Yes. 99. Big brother, you can rest assured, the second brother will not have any problems. Neil nodded with a smile. He believed that with the protection of the second brother, there would be no problems. Kaido rubbed his chin and said, Brother, I think I'd better follow along. No matter what, 06, here is the Sabayati Archipelago, and we purchase supplies here, and problems are prone to occur. No problem. Alan nodded after a little thought. Indeed. Newgate and Kaido followed. Basically there would not be any problems, other little devils. There would be no problem. Although, the strength of these little devils is in themselves, it really is nothing in the eyes. But, this is the Sabayati Archipelago. This is the Grand Line instead of New World. Dealing with these garbage. Basically, it's not a problem, it's not too weak. After all, these are all little devils who have been trained by themselves. Okay. 35. Okay. 99. Go play. It is good. Everyone nodded and immediately began to get busy, while Alan turned around and walked towards the distance at will. The place he was going was a rather special place. And everyone left in 2s and 3s, the same. Alan's observation hockey actually fell on everyone, no matter what. It's all Sabayati Archipelago here, and if the marine guys don't die, it's a very bad thing. Troublesome thing. Putting observation hockey on everyone, the problem is that the magic energy of the moon and the magic power of the rabbit charm are directly taken away. This is a small problem. Even though, sometimes it's too good not to be protected, but, As for the kid, you can't watch these kid face Marine Admiral. And then court death. That's not a joke. It's pure bullshit. Because of that, Alan simply gave up. Snapped. Snapped. Looking at the silhouettes leaving one by one, and everyone shivered, they felt that only the incomparably terrifying aura was too terrifying. Is that the three Edward brothers? 35. It's like a monster. Yes. It's too scary. But, 35. I'm going to see, this Moby Dick must have a lot of treasure. 35. Ha ha ha. Many people are in fear, but they have endless greed. They watched the Moby Dick and climbed up one by one. There was a terrifying light in everyone's eyes, and they didn't hesitate at all, is to rush up. But, next moment, what? Help. Their bodies started to float in the air uncontrollably. The next moment, with an extremely terrifying force, they fell to the ground in an instant, or fell into the deep sea. For a while, these greedy people were all greedy, is already dead. 66.35. The rest of the people looked at this scene, and the expressions in everyone's eyes were fear. They really never imagined that such a thing would happen. Such power is not theirs at all. Scene. This moment, fear really spread to everyone. They couldn't say that they were trembling, or they were almost the same. Gudong. He swallowed his saliva deeply. Everyone's expression was full of fear. One by one, they were hiding very far away, and they didn't dare to approach casually. This power was like a monster. Really feel the endless fear. Their avoidance also made the Moby Dick stand quietly here. On the other side, snapped. Snapped. Alan came to the 13th area of Sabayati Archipelago, in a place that is not remote. Soon, he saw the tavern in front of him. Shaki's ripped off bar. Hee hee. It's really Shaki's character. With a look of emotion, Alan walked in with big strides. His expression was very calm, even full of endless indifference. Wow. As the wind chimes rang, Alan walked into it, and a woman with black shoulder-length hair was at the bar. She raised her head, and her face was not pretty, but it was very calm, as if she didn't care about Alan. The same as the arrival. Huh. Breathing out a puff of smoke, she smiled and said, Brother Alan, it's been a long time since I've been gone, maybe 5 months. Cut. Alan sat down and said casually, Bring me a beer, Shaki. Long time no see. That's right. This woman is Shaki, a member of Rock's Pirate who joined Rock's Pirate 5 years ago, and what she is best at is her amazing intelligence, even saying. Shaki's intelligence is shocking. Same. Shaki's intelligence also confuses many people. It is clear that there is only one person in Shaki. How did he collect so much intelligence? This is the difference that many people feel, but more are very calm, and indifferent is it, not particularly concerned about it. For a place like Rock's Pirate, no matter what happens, it seems to be a matter of course. No matter what kind of characters appear, it is also a matter of course. This is the charm of Rock's Pirate, right? All in all, it really makes people feel very interesting. Woo. With a puff of smoke, Alan leaned on the sofa and asked casually, Shaki. There is one thing I would like to ask you. Do you have any complete information about Atom Kingdom? Shaki thought for a while and said, Brother, are you planning to attack Atom Kingdom again? 99. Alan nodded and said, That's right. At the beginning, I did feel some problems in Atom Kingdom. There is an immortal who has survived for a long time. There should be no doubt about this. It is because so, I really want to see the complete information of Atom Kingdom. 5. Shaki nodded and considered. 1 billion Bailey, Brother Alan, I'll give you a 20% discount, 800 million Bailey, this is the cheapest price. I can give it to you within 3 months. Get the most complete information on Atom Kingdom. 3 months. Can. Alan nodded, and this time the deal was settled. Then, Shaki brought the beer and put it in front of Alan and said, Brother Alan, consider this beer as my gift to you, but you actually came to Sabayati Archipelago, really? It is indeed Brother Alan. Your character is like dancing on top of world government and naval headquarters. He. Alan nodded and said, Almost. But it doesn't matter to Laozi. If Laozi cared, he wouldn't be here. Indeed. Woo. A puff of smoke was exhaled, and Shaki nodded and said, It's indeed your character, Brother Alan, but if nothing else, Marine will take action against you, after all. All 3 of your brothers are here. If you don't shoot, I'm afraid it's inappropriate. Well, if you want to shoot, you will shoot. Anyway, I don't care. Just right. I also intend to see what Marine's strength is. I am very interested. Ha ha ha. Alan's smile is very strong. Are you afraid? Just kidding. It's like a joke. I don't dare to say anything else. But if I'm afraid of these Marines, it's too funny. It's like a joke. According to Alan's crazy character is afraid of this. Stop it. This is like a joke, even to say. This is like a pure joke. Woo. Alan exhaled a puff of smoke, the corners of his mouth grinned, and said interestingly, I would like to see the arrival of these Marines. After all, if I had already come to Sabayati Archipelago, these guys wouldn't dare to come. But it's just too boring. 9. Search. He licked the corner of his mouth slightly, and a ferocious killing intent emerged, and a terrifying light flashed in his eyes. Guard, guard, guard. The Whitebeard Pirates at Sabayati Archipelago. Everyone on guard. Yes. With a lot of voices roaring, the entire naval headquarters seemed to be busy, everyone looked solemn, and on the other side, in the naval headquarters building, a large number of people were also fast shuttlers. Marshal's office. Sora rubbed his eyebrows slightly, and said sharply, I really didn't expect that this lunatic would be willing to come to Sabayati Archipelago, but it's really a headache. 35. Mr. Empty. The door of the office was opened, and Sengoku walked in quickly and said solemnly, the Moby Dick has appeared in Sabayati Archipelago, it seems. The other party seems to be purchasing materials in Sabayati Archipelago. What? Sora nodded and said. According to the current information, the Whitebeard Pirates are purchasing materials in Sabayati Archipelago. According to the personnel, the overall fighter of the Whitebeard Pirates is about 2,000 people, and other than that however, there are tens of thousands of late-stage personnel, and for them, material procurement is a very important thing. 55. Sengoku also nodded solemnly, thinking, Mr. Sora, are we going to take action? Sora said solemnly, tell the truth. Facing the Whitebeard Pirates, whether it can succeed, no one can be sure, after all. The Whitebeard Pirates are very strong, if they succeed, everything is easy to say. But if it fails, it will be troublesome. Yes, Sengoku couldn't help but rubbed his brows. This is the most troublesome thing. If it succeeds, then of course it is the best thing. Defeating the Whitebeard Pirates can make Marine's reputation bigger and let the whole world know about Marine. This is the benefit of success, and it is the power that 913 can directly attack pirates. But the problem is, what if it fails? Don't think this is a joke. The Whitebeard Pirates have 3 Edward brothers, Alan, Newgate, and Kaido. The strength of these 3 guys is beyond doubt. To face these 3 guys, you need at least 3 Admiral level combat power. And less than 3 Admiral level combat power, that is meaningless. But, Alan's ability is too special, so special that even if you can defeat the opponent, can you really capture or even kill the opponent? This is almost impossible. Because of this, the situation is very uncomfortable, this thing. It can be said that it is abnormal and makes people feel headache. Well, of course everything is undeniable. This problem is the biggest problem. Marine's current combat power is really not enough. There is not that much combat power at all, and there is no more damage. Sora thought for a while and said, no matter what, the other party appears in Sabayati Archipelago, if we don't do anything, this is impossible. Yes, Sengoku also nodded. This is the most fundamental reason. The other party was in Sabayati Archipelago, but he didn't show any sign on his side. It's going to be messed up. Therefore, in fact, the current Marine can be said to be very troublesome, and it is even more difficult to deal with all this. If it is handled well, it is of course not necessary to say, but as long as there is a little problem, it is a real loss. The most uncomfortable place. Woo. Taking a deep breath, Sengoku thought for a while. Mr. Sora, with Marine's power alone, it must be. It's almost impossible to destroy the entire Whitebeard Pirates. What? Sora also nodded and said, I also know about this, but this is the current situation, this matter. We can't pretend that we haven't seen it. The world government, with the collapse of Rock's pirate, has stopped putting the pirates in the eyes. Sora is really a helpless sigh. I don't know how to say it. World government is very simple, but it is really difficult for Marine, even to say. This is the most troublesome, even the most difficult thing. No way. Just relying on Marine's strength. In fact, many things cannot be achieved, and under such circumstances, there are so many problems now, this is the biggest problem. A little helplessly rubbed his eyebrows, Sora looked at Sengoku, while Sengoku said slightly while thinking, Mr. Sora. I have an idea. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 6th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 163. 3 generals, 1 hero, 7 vice admiral, 5,000 elites. How gorgeous. What did Sengoku discuss with Sora? It's really something no one knows. But, soon, Marine, this behemoth, began to move. Under the extremely fast speed, a large number of Marine gathered, and it was really mighty, without any hidden, just a pair. We are going to the Whitebeard Sea of Sabayati Archipelago. The band of thieves has taken action, everyone. They are all for me to watch, and they are all for Laozi to watch. This is what Marine is doing, or even talking about. 5 minutes after Marine was just preparing to act, Alan got information, which is the most bizarre, even strange thing. Normally, Marine operations, in order to prevent the pirates from escaping, they will hide their tracks a little before the action. After all, it takes at most half an hour to arrive at the Sabayati Archipelago from naval headquarters, and during this half hour, as long as you want to hide, it is too easy. But, this time, Marine did not hide his traces, but showed it upright and open. Come on. The appearance of the war started. This picture is the most strange thing, and it is also the most strange. The matter, I don't know what's going on. For a while, everyone who knows the news has a feeling of confusion. Didn't this make the Whitebeard Pirates leave? What does it mean? What's the situation? Gudong. Gudong. It's fun. Alan drank the beer, felt the cold beer, and said comfortably, don't say it. Shaki, although your wine is expensive, it is really a very good wine. Woo. Shaki spit out a puff of green smoke and said with a smile, Brother Alan, it's fine if you like it, but don't forget the price of the drink, that's all. Alan said casually. The problem with the wine money is a small problem. I will give it to you in the next intelligence transaction, by the way. Did something go wrong? I saw that Shaki answered a phone bug, and then it seemed like something happened. Shaki nodded and said, Brother Alan, 5 minutes ago, Marine made the deployment of personnel and has already arrived at the Sabayati archipelago. Although the personnel is not yet clear, it is indeed fair and mighty. Forehead. Ha ha ha. Alan was stunned for a moment, but then he couldn't help laughing, and said interestingly, really? Does this guy Sengoku think that this method can scare me away? Really? You don't need to think about it, you know, it's Sengoku's method. It's like a joke. If Laozi wants to go, only Laozi wants to go, but if Laozi doesn't want to go, no one can force Laozi. Woo. Shaki exhaled a puff of green smoke again, nodded and said, indeed, after thinking about it a little, Sengoku's idea is probably that their attack is open and honest, according to the normal pirate action, they should be leaving, but Sengoku is a smart one. Man, he is very clear about your character, Brother Alan, and it is impossible to do such an idiot. Alan said casually, well, it doesn't matter. No matter what kind of thing Sengoku is, I don't care, but since this guy Sengoku is coming, it's just right. I also go and see, Sengoku this guy what the hell does guy mean? What? Lazily standing up, Alan walked out of the bar casually, waved his hand and said, Shaki, goodbye. Shaki also waved his hand and said, Brother Alan, goodbye. Snapped. Snapped. Accompanied by the sound of footsteps, Shaki looked at Brother Alan who was walking away, but he couldn't help shaking his head and said calmly, some words, I don't know how to describe them, but one thing is certain, Sengoku the idea is definitely not that simple, just what the hell is Sengoku trying to do? 55. Never mind. This is not something I need to consider. I just need to do my job well, after all. I am no longer a pirate and have retired. Shaki shook her head, she was not thinking about everything else, but quietly cleaned up the bar. This is her job, she has retired and is no longer a pirate. Now Shaki is just an ordinary pirate, at most, it is a bar owner, an intelligence businessman who sells information, and everything else has nothing to do with her. On the other side, Newgate and Kaido naturally got information on this matter. Huh, pipe exclamation mark. Newgate raised his eyebrows and said strangely, third, do you think this guy Sengoku has a problem with his head? Does he think he can scare us away? Kaido shrugged and said, second brother, although you say that Sengoku is your old enemy, it's better not to say that. Sengoku is called the resourceful general, it's impossible to do such an idiot thing, there must be something else idea. Cut. Newgate pouted, after all, he is an old enemy. After so many years, it is natural to be able to black out, and they are all used to it. In addition, Newgate kept thinking, but it is also necessary. Just think carefully, Sengoku's move this time is also quite big. Neil, how is the material procurement going? Newgate turned his head to ask, and Neil on the side had just walked out of the shop. Neil nodded and said, second brother, we have already purchased almost everything. The children have begun to be sent to the Moby Dick in batches. They have the unique bubble technology of Sabayati archipelago. It is very difficult to send these to the past. Easy, the total cost is about 1 billion Baileys, enough for the people on board to live for about 5 to 10 years. Neil said, if you were a normal person, 20 years would be enough to live with such terrifying supplies. However, all those guys on the ship are big eaters, so naturally, there is no need to say more. Definitely it is to eat a lot, so it is said that it has been said for so many years. Okay. 39. Gone. Return. 35. Newgate, along with Kaido, Neil, and the others, are also ready to start their return flight, after all. I already know the news on Sengoku's side. If it continues, it will be quite troublesome, so let's go back first. Over time. In about 20 minutes, everyone who should have returned has already returned, and returned to the Moby Dick one by one through the small boats, after all. The Moby Dick is really too big, if this is the case, it will go directly to the shore. If so, you will not be able to log in either. Marco squatted on the ground, looked into the distance, and said strangely, Marco should be coming soon, right? Almost. Bagley clenched his fist slightly, and said very seriously, this time, Marine has come so openly, he must have prepared a lot of strength, right? 55. Humph. No matter what kind of power, it is a meaningless thing. Clenching his fists, Tiger also said with sharp eyes, we won't be afraid of Marine, let's take a look, Marine's strength is also to make this sea resound the name of the Whitebeard Pirates again. Ha ha ha. Bagley laughed and said, Tiger, you have an idea with me. This sea is to resound the name of the Whitebeard Pirates. The two brothers looked at each other and both grinned. Just kidding, for them, defeating the Dark Emperor. It's not enough. It's not enough to make the Whitebeard Pirates ring through the whole world, but more strong. Show more power, so that the Whitebeard Pirates can completely resound throughout the world. Okay, you two, don't look like this here. Whitebeard walked over, looked at the two people standing on the shore, and complained, you two have a good idea. However, Marine's people this time are not what you can deal with, you should be honest. Yes. What? Bagley turned his head, looked at Whitebeard's helpless look, and asked, what kind of strength did Marine deploy this time? Whitebeard said directly, the 3 admirals from Naval Headquarters, all the Sengoku, Black Arm, and White Cranes are dispatched, Naval Headquarters heroes, Monkey D. Garp are dispatched, as well as 7 Marine Vice Admiral, and the number of elite 5,000 people in the headquarters, 10 ships are dispatched. Battleship, F*K, 35, Wipe, 35, real or fake? Bagley and Tiger were all stunned. Isn't this TM too outrageous to dispatch so many people? Crazy. Is Marine crazy? Naval Headquarters 3 Admiral, Hero Vice Admiral. 7 Vice Admiral. There are also 5,000 elite troops. Correct. And these 10 warships. Listening to this configuration, the two brothers were blinded, and Marco asked strangely, what do you mean? Whitebeard pondered and said, this configuration, normally, if you are dealing with the Rocks pirate, it will only be dispatched, the result. This time against our Whitebeard pirates, it was dispatched directly, which is not a good thing, and it turned out to be 10 warships, this is a very troublesome thing. Battleship. Warship. The two are different. Naval Headquarters warships are built in the capital of 7 waters. Although they are stronger than most of the ships on the sea, they are definitely not invincible ships, but the warships and warships are exactly the same in appearance. But it was built by scientists dispatched by the world government. The technological content represented is absolutely different. Let's make an analogy. Every time Marine launches a buster call, 5 battleships are dispatched. Under such circumstances, you probably know what it means. This time, 10 battleships were dispatched in one go. Coupled with this configuration, this really took the Whitebeard pirates into full consideration, and regarded them as an invincible big man. In such a situation, it really is I don't know what to say. Or, how should I say it? This. He couldn't help but stunned, and Marco, who was listening to the explanation, scratched his head and said, so what? Forget it. Guillaume walked over and said with a smile, according to my father's character, it is impossible to retreat at all. In other words, the greatest possibility for leaving here is to look directly at Marine's arrival. Ha ha ha. Bagley laughed and said, it's really Uncle's character. 39. Tiger also agreed. Yes. Yes. However, this is also a matter of indifference, just start a war. What is there to care about? That's right. 99. Bagley and Tiger looked at each other, their eyes were filled with terrifying fighting intent. They were the first followers of the 3 Edward brothers. Everyone was full of crazy fighting intent, not just Marine. Isn't that what it is? What is this? Not worth mentioning. Not worth mentioning. Let's see if we are afraid or not. It's all over. Each of them is very confident, and it is precisely because of this confidence that it is the most important thing. Humph. A smile appeared, and everyone was ready. Ha ha ha. With this heroic laughter, Alan walked back in stride, proudly saying, little boys. Since Marine has dispatched such a gorgeous lineup, if we leave, it will be a very shameful thing. Quote. Father. Uncle. 55. Humph. The corners of his mouth grinned, and Alan said grimly, today. I want to see what Sengoku wants to do, or rather. Does he really want to kill us, or has other ideas? Alan squinted his eyes and had a different idea. For Sengoku, I can't say I understand it completely, but it is certain that Sengoku, as the resourceful general, is absolutely impossible to make such an idiot thing. This is absolutely impossible. In other words, the current Marine can be said to be the newly formed Marine, and Sengoku is taking such a Marine to fight with himself. Stop making trouble. This is absolutely impossible. In other words, Sengoku is absolutely there are other ideas, and very serious ones. Interesting. 99. Interesting. 35. The corners of Alan's mouth twitched, and he said interestingly, Sengoku, let me see, what exactly are you trying to do? On the other side, wow. With the tumult of the waves, the small boats have gradually returned to the Moby Dick with everyone. Everyone is going to sea. As for the direct war, well, although it has not been studied and understood, but it must be first back on the Moby Dick. You don't really plan to fight Marine on the shore, do you? That's an idiot move. This is your hometown. If you fight Marine on the shore, what's the use of the Moby Dick? Please. The people of the Whitebeard Pirates are arrogant, but they are not idiots, nor does good, are they not? One by one is not a brainless cerebral palsy. They are very clear, how the next battle will be, they can say. Seeing that the situation is not right, that is to retreat directly. Are you fighting to the end here? I'm going up to give you a wave of tumors. You're just making a joke here. Brother. Big brother. 35. Newgate and Kaido also came back with Neil at this time. Second. The third one. Neil. 35. Alan turned around and looked at the 3 of them, then waved his hand, and then said, let's go. Go back to the Moby Dick first, and then see what the situation is like. I'm quite interested in this guy Sengoku. With such a luxurious lineup prepared, it would be the strangest thing if Sengoku didn't have any ideas. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed in agreement. Yeah. Sengoku is a very clear person, he must have a lot of ideas. Although I don't know what he wants to do, but, no, if something goes wrong, he probably wants to do something interesting. Indeed. Neil also pondered. Three big brothers, Sengoku is not a crazy person, it is impossible for him to do such crazy actions, if he really fights with us, it is impossible for Marine to accept it. Yes. 39. To be honest, Marine's current strength, but he is not sure of completely destroying the Whitebeard Pirates. It would be very interesting if he really fought to the death. Alan said casually. It doesn't matter. I just plan to take a look now, let's go. Go back first. Alan raised one hand, and all four of them floated up and headed towards the Moby Dick. It is worth mentioning, the other little ghosts were also brought back by himself. Next, let me take a look. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. First update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 164. So much nonsense. Go to war. Go to war. Wow, wow. With the tumult of the waves, the warships came galloping, and the speed can be said to be extremely fast. And, standing on the headed warship are Sengoku, Garp, Zephyr, and Crane, followed by 7 Marine Vice Admiral, and there are 5,000 Marine elites. They are the most elite of naval headquarters, that is the real elite, the word elite is definitely not a joke. It is the real top elite, there is no doubt about it. Ha ha ha. Garp put his arms around his chest and looked at the behemoth in front of him and said interestingly, Sengoku. Zephyr. Ah Crane. Look at it. It's really a huge pirate ship. My dear, it's really too big, right? It's as big as an island, right? Moby Dick. Zephyr also said seriously. It is indeed bigger than what I saw in the news. According to the news I just got, the Moby Dick is only a logistics staff, as well as wives and children. There are almost 3 or 5 people. The number of 10,000 people. 99. What? Wife and children? Garp was stunned for a moment, then said in astonishment, this bastard, Alan, actually brought so many people to the sea. Crane said calmly. This is not a strange thing. Back then, the 3 Edward brothers took a whole treasure tree atom, and under such circumstances, the purpose is already very obvious. For them, they just want to form a sea kingdom of their own. Naturally, everyone will bring their wives and children with them. 99. Tisk tisk tisk. It's really interesting. Garp was stunned, feeling very interesting, and said jokingly, the pirate ship built with a whole treasure tree atom, I don't know, what is the power of this pirate ship? Is it comparable to? Cough cough cough. Before Garp finished speaking, he was interrupted by Sengoku. Sengoku glared at Garp and said, Garp, can you say something casually? Cut. Garp buttoned his nose like he didn't care. Isn't that Pluton? What's wrong? I don't care anyway. If you don't agree, let someone come to me. Anyway, I look like I'm not afraid at all, and for Garp's appearance, Sengoku shook his head helplessly. I have to admit that Garp is really too much. Too good, as Naval Headquarters Hero Vice Admiral. Garp's position, 913 status, prestige, all aspects are too good, has reached the point that it doesn't matter at all, and this is the prestige that Garp brings to beat the rocks. Same. This is also the prestige that Garp brings about not caring about everything, it can be said. Garp's heart is very sharp, he doesn't care about these things at all, and it is precisely because of this indifference that Garp is very calm. Actually, in the original book, don't the 5 elders guard against Garp? Actually, seriously, the 5 elders guard against Sengoku, guard against Sakazuki, but the only one who is not guarded against is Garp. This man Garp and Roger joined forces to kill Rocks, capture Roger, and then. Whether it's big or small, or everything, or even unwillingness to become an admiral, the 5 elders have already seen it. Garp is a person who doesn't care about these people at all. Garp is a person who enforces his own inner justice. Why is East Blue the weakest sea area? Very simple. That's why. Long became the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Luffy was the new Joey Boy, and even in such a situation, Garp still had nothing to do. The 5 elders even sighed. Worthy of being the grandson of Garp, it is a matter of course to have such qualifications. This is what the 5 elders actually believe in Garp. He is a person who executes justice, and a person who truly leaves everything in Marine. You don't need to guard against such a person, of course, people Garp has his own justice, and will not listen to the messy orders of the 5 elders. But, 5 elders don't care, this is a special kind of trust. Wow, wow, as the waves rolled, soon, the 10 warships stopped and were separated from the Moby Dick by a distance of almost 100 meters, but when the distance became closer, they could feel more clearly, what an amazing behemoth. It is too huge, and it is too terrifying. It really makes people feel emotional. The 3 Edward brothers. Sengoku looked deeply at the 3 people standing above the whale head of the Moby Dick at this moment. Alan, Newgate, Kaido. Ha ha ha. Alan laughed and said, Sengoku. We met again, count the time, we haven't seen each other for almost 5 months. Shouldn't it be called a long time no see? And, you guy, you brought such a many people come, is it AGFJ planning to start a war with Laozi? 35. The corners of Alan's mouth grinned, flickering with horror, and with a ferocious look. His smile was very scary and crazy, and he looked at Sengoku and the others below with a funny look. Luo. Sengoku looked at Alan, didn't even mean to speak, just looked at the Moby Dick, shook his head and said, "It's really a huge pirate ship, it's a pity. Such a pirate group is going to die today. Here it is." Back. Alan was silent, looking at Sengoku's intentional look, the corners of his mouth twitched. Gu la la la, worororo. Both Newgate and Kaido couldn't help laughing. Newgate propped up Kaido's shoulders and complained, "Brother. Look, Sengoku doesn't even mean to listen to you. He doesn't even mean to listen to you, can you bear it?" No, if I were you but I can't stand it, F*K him. I have to kill him. I must kill him. That's right. 39. Kaido also nodded immediately and said, "Big brother. I agree with the second brother's statement, just the bastard Sengoku, this is too annoying. He must be killed. Today. Right here, kill him directly." 55. Listening to the two bastards beside him, Alan couldn't help shaking his head, especially when he saw Sengoku's looming smile. He understood something, put his hands in his pockets, and said interestingly, "Sengoku, very interesting. Although I dare not say that I have guessed all of your ideas, I have almost guessed one of them. You are a lunatic. The resourceful general. No, I think, you guy is a lunatic." 35. Sengoku froze for a moment, then shook his head and said, "Alan. What are you talking about? Today, Marine's only purpose is to defeat your Whitebeard pirates and imprison you, other than that. Everything else is meaningless. That's it." Cut. Alan pouted, ignoring the guy Sengoku. And Kaido leaned over and asked curiously, "Brother. What the hell is this guy Sengoku thinking?" Garp also leaned over and asked, "Sengoku, do you have any other ideas?" 66.99. This moment, Alan and Sengoku were both silent, and they had the idea of throwing away the brains around them. How could they have such a younger brother? Teammates. Ah. The two silently looked at the people around them. They really didn't bother to pay attention to the two guys around them, they had problems with their heads. Roll. Alan and Sengoku squeezed the word out of their teeth in perfect harmony. .99. Garp and Kaido silently stepped aside. But, although it looks like a joke, Alan has already seen that there is definitely something wrong with Sengoku's idea. At least, Sengoku is definitely not simply wanting to fight himself. Not kidding, Sengoku is definitely with other ideas, there is absolutely no doubt about that. 35. Squinting slightly, a sharp light appeared in Alan's eyes, and he said secretly, "Sengoku. What the hell are you trying to do? According to your personality, it is absolutely impossible to do such a crazy thing. Move." That's right. What exactly is Sengoku trying to do? Actually, Alan doesn't know at all. Crap, he's not a person who specializes in playing with his mind. If it's so easy to guess, it's a strange thing. Alan is true, it's not clear at all. Because of this, or in other words, in such a situation, I just blew up Sengoku just now, and the result was that there were some problems with the pig teammates around him, and Sengoku didn't care, he was very calm, looked at Alan quietly, his expression full of indifference. Sengoku secretly said, "Sure enough. This guy Alan didn't guess what I wanted to do, but according to Alan's character, the next thing should not be too careless, otherwise. The ghost knows who this lunatic is. What will happen? .35. Seriously. For other people, Sengoku doesn't really care, but for Alan, a madman, Sengoku has a headache and can't help it. Because he is a madman, and for a madman who doesn't know what to do, what do you have? Good idea. Hehe. Stop it. This is like a joke, what do you think a lunatic might do? It turns out that it is. A lunatic, no matter what kind of thing he does, is not a strange thing, he may do anything, even anything crazy. This is a lunatic. It's something you have to admit. With a puff of smoke, Alan couldn't guess what Sengoku was thinking, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, he is not particularly good at this matter. For these things, it really doesn't matter. Eyes. Hey. 35. Sengoku. What the hell do you want to do? Start a war. If you start a war, hurry up, I don't intend to waste so much nonsense with you. Alan was really bored looking at Sengoku, it was really meaningless. And Sengoku said very calmly, "Alan, you'd better just grab your hands. The Grand Line is Marine's territory, and I won't let you escape. For Marine, arresting you is the easiest thing to do." 6699. Right now, the people watching this battle were a bit stunned. They looked at Sengoku in astonishment. They couldn't imagine it. This sentence was actually uttered by Sengoku. Who is Sengoku? That is Admiral of Headquarters. Wrong. Sengoku is a man known as the resourceful general. He is the most outstanding man in the Admiral of Headquarters, and can be said to be the person with the highest IQ. To actually say such a thing, is this really confusing? What meaning? Sengoku would say something like that. And to the madman Alan. Is this a joke? It's Alan. Edward Allen. A real lunatic above the sea, this is the guy who the three brothers dared to attack the Atom Kingdom, and then stole one of the three treasure trees Atom. Do you think such a guy will surrender? This is like a joke, okay? It's just like a joke. But, at this moment, Sengoku actually said such a thing. Is this Sengoku afraid that there is something wrong with his head? But, although many people are thinking this way, but, some smart people are thinking carefully, thinking a little about something, and they have gradually considered it. They seem to be thinking about what may happen next. Thinking about this matter, thinking carefully, what will happen if it continues? Strange. What do you mean? 35. Some people are thinking, they are not idiots, but because they are smart people, so. They are keenly aware that something is wrong. This is not something a man like Sengoku would do, this man can't do such an idiot thing, in this case, what is the result? That's the most important thing. This is also the most strange thing everyone thinks. It is even said that it is the most strange thing, everyone thinks it is very strange, this situation. Isn't it a bit too strange? Sengoku of the Buddha, it's impossible for him to say such an idiot. This man must have other ideas, just. What is this idea? It's impossible to guess, for sure. This man has other ideas. Everyone is thinking in their hearts, although it is very strange, but. It is indeed more, but it is not particularly clear, and it is a little bit difficult to understand, what happened, this is very strange. And it is very weird thing. A lot of people, at this moment, there is really a very strange thing in the observer battlefield. Everyone thinks it is very outrageous, even very strange, and under such circumstances, the next thing is very interesting. In other words, while everyone thought it was strange, they also found it very interesting, this man. What did he want to do, or in other words, what did he think? This is the most fundamental and most important thing. Sengoku's idea is very strange, and it is also something that everyone finds interesting. Cube 6.99. Sengoku's expression gradually became solemn, he knew it. The words he said were very strange, but he had to do it, say so. Otherwise, he always thought it was a very strange thing. Sighing slightly, Alan said in a very boring manner, Sengoku. Although, I really didn't guess what you wanted to do. However, I probably guessed it too, you must have something else. That's the idea, it really is. It's boring, forget it. Never mind. 99. Alan waved his hands boredly and said, I'm not interested in what's going on at all, if that's the case. Then let's go to war. I'm too lazy to talk so much, let's go to war. Go to war. Instead of talking so much, I don't intend to continue wasting time, it's really a headache. Go to war. Go to war. Following Alan's words, Newgate and Kaido showed terrifying smiles on the corners of their mouths, their eyes flashed with a terrifying and ferocious look, and the astonishing killing intent had emerged. At this moment, the battlefield has become more and more interesting. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. Second update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 165. It's like a war, like playing a family. War. 99. Go to war. With the voice of Alan, the atmosphere has become completely different in an instant, and Sengoku also issued the order of war at the same time, and with the order of Sengoku, the 10 warships did not hesitate, and the terrifying artillery fire burst out in an instant. Out. Boom. Boom. As the roar of the terrifying artillery fire resounded, in an instant, a terrifying number of artillery shells had covered the Moby Dick, and in everyone's eyes, there was no obstruction, and it really fell on the Moby Dick. Number above. At this moment, almost everyone has only one idea. This pirate ship has been destroyed. Twice the artillery bombardment of marine slaughter, magic order. Not at all that any ship can stop. Yes, the people who observe the battle at this moment all have the same idea, for a while. They all have only this idea, and they are all thinking about this matter, after all. This is the Buster Call warship specially made by the world government. The cost of each battleship has exceeded 1 billion Bailey. Such an expensive price, if it does not have enough power, is the most strange thing. With the roar of a series of artillery fire, the battlefield seemed to fall into silence, and Sengoku narrowed his eyes slightly and said, it feels very strange, this pirate ship. Brush. As the sea breeze blew past, and the pirate ship appeared again, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief at this moment. How is that possible? 35. Impossible. It turned out to be unscathed. This. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief, and they even said that they couldn't believe it at all. How could this be possible? If it was the 3 Edward brothers, or someone else, then it would not be a strange thing. After all, their strength is here, if they simply rely on the artillery bombardment of the battleship, it would be impossible to defeat such a monster. However, at this moment, they have not made any shots, and there is nothing to do happened. This is unbelievable and completely unimaginable. This. Impossible. What happened? Everyone's eyes widened, but Alan unhurriedly ignited a desire, stood at the top of the Moby Dick, and said casually, it seems. Your strength, probably also is that so. He. It's really weak. The corners of Alan's mouth grinned, and he said indifferently, is there only such power? This is the battleship built by the world government. It's like a joke. Ha ha ha. Listening to Alan's crazy laughter, and everyone fell into silence for a while. Everyone's expressions are extremely ugly, they have a very strange feeling, don't know what this means. It is even said that there is a very strange. It even makes people feel weird. 99. With a very solemn expression, Sengoku stared at the Moby Dick in front of him, and said sharply, this pirate ship is not simple. Even if it is just an outer defense, is it so terrifying? 5. Crane thought for a while and said, this is Tishu, and Tishu has undergone a very strange transformation. Presumably, a simple attack is probably meaningless. Try it and see. Buddha's impact. In a split second of Sengoku, a terrifying shock wave swept in. Human fruit, phantom beast, Buddha form. This is Sengoku's devil fruit, and everyone knows it. Everyone thinks that the real power of Sengoku's devil fruit is the power of the shock wave. But those who really know it know that Sengoku's devil fruit brings the bonus is not just that, but a comprehensive improvement in all aspects of strength, wisdom, and spirit. This is the real power. Boom. Moment. The terrifying shock wave exploded in an instant and landed directly on the Moby Dick, but the next moment, everyone's eyes widened, and an unbelievable scene appeared, without any effect. That's right. No effect. In the face of Sengoku's shock wave, the Moby Dick didn't do any damage at all. It was even said that, under its huge size, even the shock force caused by the power did not change at all. As if to make everyone fall into silence. 66. This power. Everyone's eyes widened involuntarily, filled with endless disbelief. What is this? Is this really a pirate ship? Such a pirate ship. It's just outrageous. Even say, this is simply an invincible pirate ship. Such a terrifying defense. And there are other special forces around the Moby Dick. This is the most terrifying thing ever. Yes, this pirate ship is too terrifying. Everyone watching the battle has already felt that this is the most terrifying part of the Moby Dick, even to say it. It is simply unbelievable. What a terrifying defensive power is this? In the face of Marine's Buster Call battleship, and the roar of 10 ships, there was no damage at all, and then, in the face of the shock wave of Sengoku, it was unscathed, which is simply unimaginable. Ha ha ha, ooh. Worororo. The three brothers were all laughing, and the smiles on the corners of everyone's mouths were very strong. Obviously, no one could have imagined that this would be the result. Alan raised his mouth and said proudly, Sengoku, what do you think? This is Laozi's Moby Dick. It is definitely the top pirate ship. This is a pirate ship built by Laozi. Do you think that such a mediocre attack, can it be destroyed? Stop it. Next. It's Daddy. Roar. Dragon blast. Electric eye burst. 3 shock waves pierced through at the same time. Alan had no intention of showing mercy, but in the face of Alan's attack, Sengoku opened his hands, and in an instant, the same 3 shock waves pierced through. In an instant. Boom. A terrifying mushroom cloud rose directly, and the sea was instantly evaporated with the sound of thorn, and the water vapor rose up with the mushroom cloud, and the next moment, the sea appeared a terrifying pit. After a moment of stalemate, the two separated at the same time, and at this moment, the war started instantly. War. 35. War. 99. With this terrifying roar, the battlefield exploded in an instant, and the entire battle situation began to churn. Whitebeard Pirates versus Marine Elite. Instantly opened the curtain. 7 Marine Vice Admiral also joined the battlefield, and the Whitebeard Pirates led by Bagley and Tiger also began to fight, although it is said, under the divine power of the spell, they don't need to think about injury at all. Naturally, there is no fear. Scared. Under such circumstances, the battle situation at this moment began to explode directly, and the crazy battlefield was surging frantically. Only, as the battle began, Bagley felt a strange feeling. Boom, boom. Bagley launched the offensive directly like a tiger, but under such circumstances, it was very strange. Obviously, it was an amazing attack, but there was a feeling of hitting the cotton. Strange feeling. Bagley looked at the Marine Vice Admiral in front of him, with a very strange feeling, and then did not continue to attack, but retreated, and soon came to Tiger's side. At the same time, Tiger also repelled his opponent, and Tiger also frowned at the situation in front of him, and had a very strange feeling. It was really very strange. Even said, it gave people a very strange feeling, it seemed that something is not right. Tiger. Bagley. The two brothers looked at each other, and they were keenly aware that something was wrong. No, it was too wrong, it was not right at all. There is a very big problem, and this situation is the most strange thing. Tiger said in a low voice. There is a problem with the degree of these marine strikes, they seem to be just trying to stop us, obviously there are flaws, and the other party doesn't attack. That's right. Bagley also nodded, and immediately said seriously, indeed. This is a very strange thing, what does the other party think? Seriously. Bagley and Tiger both felt very at a loss, what the hell is this? Don't look at the Whitebeard Pirates, which seems to be a lighthearted group. They swept the Sombra organization, one of the Dark Emperors, and greatly damaged the vitality of the entire Sombra organization. The more reason is, the three Edward brothers are too strong, there is no one to fight against, the elites and cadres are not opponents at all. In terms of low-level combat power, it is not a level opponent at all. But the problem is, Marine is not, whether it is 7 Vice Admiral, or 5,000 elite generals including many generals, even saying. Marine dispatched 3 generals and 1 hero standing like this. No kidding. Such a thing, the combat power is simply not comparable to Alan and others. This kind of situation is the most bizarre. It is also the strangest thing. The Whitebeard Pirates are not saying that they are losing, but they should be in a weak position. Result. The situation now is like playing a house. Now, don't take it too seriously. 0. For flowers. This is almost what everyone thinks, and it is simply the strangest thing. What's going on? I don't know. 35. Although Bagley and Tiger were very dazed, the two brothers were still very serious. They did not immediately launch an indiscriminate attack. Instead, they were very vigilant. After all, to attack directly like an idiot, and as a result, someone gets it done, that's stupid. It's just what an idiot did. But no matter what it is, the battle still has to continue. It is the most important to continue to see what the outcome of this battle will be. However, the way of fighting like Marine is really weird. There is a strange feeling. Golem. Earthquake. The magma and the air shock exploded at the same time, and Abel and Carmenio launched an attack at the same time, and the target was Baihe, one of the admirals. Only, facing the attack of the two of them, the crane just dismissed the attack of the two of them lightly, but said indifferently, the lava fruit ability, and the fruit copying ability are all very good people. Besides, you are from the Lunaria clan. Both Abel and Carmenio vaguely sensed something was wrong. No, it was very strange. What did the other party want to do? Or rather, what was the situation? People find it weird. Crane stood there quietly, without any intention of taking the initiative to attack. Facing the offensive of the two little devils, he was always on the defensive. Abel, seem. Carmenio said seriously. It's very wrong. What exactly is the other party trying to do? According to the strength of this Marine Admiral, it doesn't seem to be difficult to defeat us, right? 35. Abel nodded and said, compared to Marine Admiral, our strength is of course no match for us. But, because of this is the strangest thing. The opponent doesn't seem to have any intention of attacking. Yes, Carmenio also nodded and agreed with this statement very much, but the two continued to attack, no matter what, let's try it first. If there is really a problem, then retreat immediately, it should not be a problem. Matter. Crane is very calm, she is one of the very few people who is very clear about Sengoku's thoughts, and she also knows what Sengoku wants to do. Actually, the people in the Whitebeard Children's Hungry group have already noticed that something is wrong. It is very strange, it is too strange, even to say. It gives people a strange feeling. With the attack on your side, and the other side is retreating, a picture does not mean to fight with you at all. So far, we have clicked so far, and this is what it looks like. And the more it is, the better, the weirder it is. Marine's arrival with such a mighty force clearly intends to destroy the Whitebeard Pirates. As a result, it is very strange, even to say, that he has such an attitude. It is a strange thing. But, that's the truth, Marine made such a strange move, which is completely meaningless, but no matter what. The most crucial point is here. Although everyone said that they found a problem, but, outside from the point of view of people, they did not notice any problems, but instead gave people a feeling that the Whitebeard Pirates were too strong. Marine dispatched such a battle, and it seems that he can't do anything, and this feeling is the most strange feeling. This makes the Whitebeard Pirates in the battle even more bizarre. Boom. As the roar exploded, Bagley said sharply, Tiger. I seem to have found the problem. What? Tiger nodded and said, I also found out that Marine's idea seems to be that it is not working hard with us at all. It is not the end of it. 5. That's right. Listening to Tiger's words, and Bagley also nodded, the two brothers keenly discovered the problem. Marine didn't want to go all out, or in other words, Marine didn't intend to attack the entire Whitebeard Pirates. The regiment launched the same war of destruction, but it has other meanings. This is the weirdest thing ever. You, Marine, started such a battle, and you came here, not to destroy the Whitebeard Pirates. What does this mean? Although it is said, it is a very strange feeling. But now it seems that it is the truth. Marine is the idea. Even though, Bagley and Tiger came up with such an idea, and felt very strange. But the fact is that the two brothers have been keenly aware of it, and the other party has such an idea, this is a war like playing a family. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. Third update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 166. Sengoku's idea. Kill the Whitebeard Pirates. Crackling. Jingle. Jingle. With this crisp and sweet voice, the battle seemed to be over. Guillaume stepped back, dodging the galloping attack, but after testing, Guillaume proved once again that the opponent's attack had no fatal intention at all, and it was enough to force him back. Who, slightly let out a sigh of turbidity, Guillaume said secretly, sure enough. It's the same as I guessed, or in other words, Marine doesn't want to fight at all, this is an act. A very grand act. Brush, brush. An ice blue figure fell to the ground with a beautiful arc, and it was Whitebeard, who stood beside Guillaume and said, Guillaume, do you feel it? Marines, the situation seems to be very strange. 99. 39. Guillaume nodded and said, Marine doesn't seem to want to fight, or in other words, Marine is acting as if he were acting, and this kind of acting is the strangest thing. No one knows what Marine wants to do. Whitebeard pondered, Guillaume, do you think it's possible that Marine is flattering us? Killing. This. Guillaume pondered for a moment, his brain instantly understood, his eyes narrowed, and he said seriously, that's right. This possibility is very high, Marine is very likely to kill us, or even say. This is almost the greatest possibility, otherwise. According to Marine's strength, our Whitebeard pirates are actually not opponents. Your family knows your own business. Guillaume and Whitebeard are the kind of children who are sharp-minded and have a very calm personality, and because of this, the two sisters also understand very well that the strength of their own family, although they seem to be very powerful, but there is still a real gap compared with Marine. This is not a joke. It's really a gap between 9-13 inches, and under such circumstances, what is going on with Marine's strength? There is only one possibility left, Marine thought. That's how the fight ends. That's right, that's what Marine wanted, that's what Marine wanted. Or, Marine would rather use his own reputation, but also let the reputation of the entire Whitebeard Pirates explode, telling the whole world that the Whitebeard Pirates are powerful, and this is the most terrifying thing to know. Is the current Whitebeard Pirate strong enough? Of course. There is no doubt about it, otherwise, the whole world would not pay attention to the Whitebeard Pirates, and it is proof that the base camp of the Sombra organization was destroyed so easily and directly. There is no doubt about the power of the Whitebeard Pirates. But, the Whitebeard Pirates are definitely not powerful enough to be invincible. This is the fundamental reason. The only truly powerful Whitebeard Pirates are the Edward brothers Alan, Newgate and Kaido. As for the other little devils, is too weak, they need time to develop. Only 20 years, only 20 years. The Whitebeard Pirates can become the most terrifying monsters in this world, even become terrifying monsters like the Rocks Pirate. Only, Sengoku's idea is very simple, Marine really doesn't have that much energy to deal with your Whitebeard Pirates, but then I'll kill you. I'd rather take my Marine's reputation as the foundation, but also let your Whitebeard Pirates will become the number 1 pirates in the world. At that time, I have to see what your results will be. In this world, pirates chase fame and fortune, and when a pirate group is not your opponent, there will be 2, 3, 4, 5, or even more joining forces. Including Akoku, John, Silver Axe, these guys, maybe a combination of others, it's all very possible. Under such circumstances, will your Whitebeard Pirates be destroyed? Lin was defeated by Kid and Law teaming up. Kaido was defeated by Luffy Crunches. Whatever it is, this has all been proved that when facing a strong enemy, pirates will never be stingy with their alliances, and because of this. This is the most interesting thing, isn't it? Really. Guillaume and Whitebeard discussed it for a while, and said with admiration, as expected of the resourceful general of naval headquarters, Sengoku is really scary. He would rather let Marine's reputation be polluted than kill us Whitebeard C. Band of thieves. 99. 35. Whitebeard said seriously. Yes. Besides, this is a plan with no solution at all, Marine must be successful, because now Marine, facing us, is stronger. There will be no accidents at all. If this is the case, Marine can still use this method to make the big pirates in the whole world feel that Marine is not worth mentioning, and the result is. Guillaume continued. Marine can get time to develop, and as long as Marine is given time, they can grow up quickly. After all, they are backed by a big monster like the world government. Who, at this moment, while the two sisters were discussing, a thick puff of smoke was exhaled, and Alan stepped out from the side of the two, rubbed his eyebrows, and said helplessly, Sengoku guy, but the idea is really good. Father, uncle, this matter. What? Alan interrupted the two little girls who wanted to continue to say something, but said casually, this matter doesn't matter. I don't care what plan this guy Sengoku has. However, now I am most interested in it. The question is, what if the damage is severe? He. The corners of Alan's mouth twitched with murderous intent, and along with this terrifying and hideous smile, a cruel look emerged. Just kidding. Dare to plot against yourself. Sengoku. You are simply courting death. Coming. Sengoku looked at the floating Alan, and immediately understood that this guy already knew what was going on, thinking of this. Sengoku made a slight gesture, and all the Marines immediately understood what was going on. At the same time, in the battlefield, air shock. 35. Black arm katakana middle dot finger pistol. Boom. Newgate and Zephyr are fighting fiercely, and Zephyr is a Marine 6 styles powerhouse, and a very terrifying powerhouse, for the development of Marine 6 styles, no joke. It has reached the level of Zephyr, almost non-existent yes, the strength is extremely terrifying. While Zephyr blocked Newgate's attack, he was also keenly aware of Sengoku's movements. Next moment. Black arm katakana middle dot tempest kick. Black arm katakana middle dot finger pistol. Die. Zephyr is just like crazy, launched a bombing attack, under the terrifying offensive. The violent offensive made Newgate a little confused for a while. What is the situation of this guy? Are you going to work hard? Kong cloud cut, air shock cut. Newgate was also unceremonious, and at the same time fell directly with a knife. Black arm katakana middle dot iron body. In Newgate's stunned look, Zephyr launched a seemingly invincible defense, but iron body plus armament hockey. Although iron body is known as a mortal move, but when a master like Zephyr uses it, it is naturally stab it. PFF'd. 39. Wow. Kong Yunchi cut a wound directly, and under Newgate's shocked eyes, this knife cut a shocking wound on Zephyr's chest, and then the whole person was seriously injured, a mouthful of blood spit out. Boom. He fell straight into the deep sea. Newgate stood on a warship and looked at Kong Yunchi in his hand. He seemed to be in a daze for a while, and the whole person felt that he was really very weird. F*K. 35. Newgate is even about to swear. Isn't this TM just like a joke? It's like making a joke. He is very clear about his own strength. And under such circumstances, Zephyr, this guy, almost killed himself with a knife, lost his combat effectiveness, and fell into the deep sea. This is simply nonsense. I can clearly feel it. Zephyr, the bastard, blocked almost 99% of his attacks, and the last blow was hit, so it looked very dangerous, but in fact, there was no injury at all. Zephyr. While Newgate felt the difference, at this time, turning his head, the situation on Kaido's side seemed to be equally very strange. Kaido's strength is very strong. But compared to his two brothers and those monsters of the same age, there is still a gap, after all. This is the gap brought about by age, and it will take time to make up for it. Normally, Garp is stronger than Kaido, which is a matter of course, but at this moment. However, it is showing a strange posture. Kaido actually shows a very strong strength, a brave look, and Garp is it open at 5 or 5. This TM is simply outrageous. Kaido's situation is really more outrageous than Newgate's side. What does it mean? Newgate was a little confused, and at this time, a careful observer of the battlefield immediately found the problem keenly, and Newgate was also a smart person. After thinking a little, he immediately understood what was going on. Even more so, I know what this guy Sengoku wants to do. Okay. The corners of Newgate's mouth grinned, and he said hideously, Sengoku. You guy, you are really not a good thing. Earthquake. Seaquake. Newgate clenched his fists with both hands, and at the same time, the terrifying power smashed down instantly, and the terrifying shock wave rolled up. In an instant, it seemed that everything was swallowed up. This invincible power made people feel endless. Horrible. Everything happened so fast. 10 warships were surrounded by the monstrous waves. Humph. Sengoku looked calm, and the shock waves fell one after another, directly blocking Newgate's offensive, but at this moment of time. Alan grinned and said grimly, Sengoku. Are you playing with Laozi? That's right. Then Laozi will have a good time with you. With this ferocious and cruel voice, Alan opened one hand. Under the terrifying power, endless flames have begun to burn. The next moment, a roaring fire dragon, as if covering the sky, fell down. Die. The devil of fire. The terrifying attack fell, and in the face of this blow, Sengoku shrank his eyes and made a gesture at the same time. Retreat. Retreat. 5. A large number of Marines retreated quickly, and the people of the Whitebeard Pirates were also retreating quickly. After all, facing the raging flames, if they were not careful, they would all be swallowed up. And under this monstrous flame, the next moment, a terrifying shock wave and a terrifying mushroom cloud burst out. Boom. The deafening roar resounded. In an instant, the endless power had swept 10 warships in an instant, and they were immediately destroyed, and a large number of marine corpses emerged, and the sea was dyed red. A lot of blood spilled on the sea. Sengoku sighed slightly. He knew. His plan was discovered. Of course, this is nothing. It doesn't matter if it is discovered, it's a conspiracy. Even if everyone knows about it, it doesn't matter. Because, when something really happened, then it has been proved that the Whitebeard Pirates are too terrifying, so terrifying that they and others cannot be defeated by normal means, so they used this method. Otherwise, there is absolutely no need for this, and because of this, this is the most convincing thing. Right now, although it is true, the plan is indeed true, but it is not true. Of the 5,000 Marine elites, nearly 3,000 people died in one blow from Alan's blow, even to say. There are 2 Marine Vice Admiral, they couldn't dodge, they just died in battle, and the rest quickly hid in the submarine prepared by Marine and left directly. Sengoku had calculated everything. Normally, there shouldn't be such a problem, or even any damage, but Alan's strength has been improved again. That's right. Alan's strength is stronger, and it became extremely terrifying, something that Sengoku hadn't considered. 35. Stepping into the air through moonwalk, Sengoku's eyes were unusually sharp, and he looked at Alan solemnly and said, Alan. You are stronger, seriously. That is, your strength has actually been improved like this again. Ha ha ha. With a sarcastic smile on the corner of Alan's mouth, he said, Sengoku. Now your idea seems to have succeeded. It's a pity, your injury seems to be a little big. With this sarcastic smile, Alan 5.9 really finds it very interesting, it is undeniable. Has Sengoku's idea succeeded? It's time to be on the watch list. But, do you want to say that Sengoku earned it? Not necessarily. Marine's reputation has been polluted, and the two Vice Admiral and Marine's elite soldiers of nearly 3,000 are elites. It's not that they can be cultivated casually. The result is already dead. Such a result, I don't know if Sengoku can accept it. Asshole. Sengoku's face is extremely ugly, he even said. It is full of endless killing intent, if possible. Sengoku really wants to kill Alan directly, the loss is already there, but it is impossible to kill at all Alan. Ha ha ha. Facing Sengoku's anger, Alan was laughing wildly, his eyes filled with endless irony, and a mocking smile emerged, and he said jokingly, Sengoku. But it's really too embarrassing. Is your plan like this? It really makes people feel boring. Asshole. Sengoku's anger burned completely, no matter how wise he is, but at this moment. Sengoku is still relatively young. With such a result in front of him, he still has something unacceptable. Wave. Golden rays of light envelop Sengoku, and at an astonishing speed, the figure of a Buddha has emerged, and the golden rays of light converge in the palm of the hand, Sengoku's killing intent. It has burst out completely, this time. It really means no mercy. As the Admiral of Headquarters, Sengoku's strength is truly revealed at this moment. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 4th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 167. Allenby's Garp. Transformed Garp and Decision. Snapped. With Sengoku's anger burning, Crane put a hand on Sengoku's shoulder and said seriously, Sengoku. Calm down. If you are completely angry here, it will be troublesome. Woo. Sengoku let out a deep breath. He knew that he couldn't be angry, otherwise it would be a real trouble. He took a step back, and all three returned to Sabayati Archipelago. Sengoku. Garp. Crane. Now there are only 3 people left on Marine's side, and Sengoku is full of self-blame. Everything is clearly under control, the result. Just because of his own wrong judgment, Alan's strength was wrong, and as a result, a huge problem occurred. This is my own mistake. It is undeniable to say. Sengoku is very clear that casualties are inevitable, but if he had been more prepared, this would not be the case. Snapped. Alan was also in the air, so he came to the Sabayati Archipelago, fell down, lit a cigarette skillfully, and said casually, Sengoku. Your idea is really good, it's a pity. It is good, but you are not prepared enough. 35. A cruel smile emerged, and Alan sarcastically said, Look now. Your plan seems to be a success, so, do you want to continue? 66.99. Sengoku looked at Alan indifferently, continue. To tell the truth, continue to fight, the odds are still there, but the question is whether Sengoku can take more damage is the biggest question. This is the original root cause. The strength of Alan, Newgate, and Kaido is very strong. The most important thing is that they are too terrifying. If they continue, the price to be paid will be extremely huge. And according to the strength of these 3 guys, you may still be unable to kill, or even capture. The reason is simple. The 3 Edward brothers are very strong, and if you want to target the 3 Edward brothers, then there is only one way, that is, you have a monster with the same strength as rocks. Only with a monster of that level can you be sure to do it. Obviously, Marine simply doesn't have this level of power. Otherwise, Sengoku definitely wouldn't mind continuing. 06. Sengoku. Garp patted Sengoku on the shoulder and said calmly, You guy, calm down. If there is a problem, it's a bad thing, but Alan. Next. Garp's eyes became sharper. His eyes were full of terrifying fighting intent. He stared at Alan, and said in a low voice, Among so many pirates, whoever shoots at Marine, it's the first one. Ha ha ha. Alan said sarcastically. Garp. Your words are like nonsense, you are just kidding me. Marine wants to kill me, do I need to watch him kill me? Are you kidding me? Laozi is not the kind of timid guy. For Laozi, if you dare to provoke Laozi, then Laozi will kill you. 99. Search. Licking the corner of his mouth slightly, Alan said grimly. Next, let me see how your preparations are going. There are not many people left now. Exactly. Let me see, what is your strength? How? Garp. Others don't know, but I know very well, you should be very unwilling to win, right? 6699. Listening to Alan's words, Garp fell into silence. It is undeniable to say. He is indeed full of unwillingness. This is not a joke, but real unwillingness. For others, it may be okay to say, but for Garp, he is really a little bit unacceptable. Garp and Roger teamed up to defeat Captain Rocks, but was it really their own defeat? Not. Others don't know, or even say, these words can't be said, but Garp himself is very clear that when the last blow, if it continues, it will definitely be the 2 of them who fail, but Rocks is died. That's right. Rock's is not because of other reasons, or simply his own life has reached the limit, just like this. Does it sound very strange? But it's the truth. This is the reason why Rock's died. Whether it sounds strange or not, this is the most fundamental and the only reason. Rock's life has reached the limit, so he ushered in death. This is the result of the war. But for Garp, this is something he can't accept. He became a hero, but this sentence can't be followed by anyone say, because you must bear the word hero. Actually, for Garp, the so-called hero is not only a glory, but also an irony. At least, for Garp, that's true. Garp teamed up with Roger to defeat the captain of the Rock's pirate, Rocks, and he became the marine hero. Garp captures Roger, the One Piece captured by Garp, cementing his status as a marine hero. But Rocks is because his life has reached the limit, and Roger is surrendering himself, but these credits need to be carried by one person, and Garp is the most suitable candidate, and other than that. Garp's son is the leader of the Revolutionary Army, his own grandson the future One Piece. Isn't this a huge insult to Garp? Actually, it's really a huge insult. Even a huge irony. Alas. 35. Sighing slightly, Garp said quietly, some things. For me, it's actually quite depressing. I've been working hard to become stronger. I hope I can be worthy of such a name, Alan. You know this thing, 99. What? Alan nodded casually and said, however. What the truth is, it doesn't really matter. It's also something that no one cares about. I don't care, and others don't care. That fire. Everything. In fact, it has dissipated like this, and it is the most appropriate thing to call it the end. 35. He. Garp shook his head and said, maybe so. That's how it came to an end. But, Garp's eyes gradually became sharp, and he said seriously, Alan. Let's continue to try it out. My strength has been improved. Certainly. The corners of Alan's mouth grinned. The two of them at this moment didn't care about any results, or anything else, they didn't care at all. For the two of them, they just wanted to test each other's strength. Snapped. Next moment, the two shot at the same time. Alan opened one hand, and under the action of gravity, the sky was suddenly blocked. What is this? Meteorite. F*K. 35. Is this the power of God? Edward Allen. Is this man a god? 99. Looking at the power in front of them, some people are full of disbelief, or even say, completely unimaginable. What a terrifying power. This is like a god power. I can't believe that someone has such terrifying power. But it is so. This power is in front of you. This is the power like a god, Alan. It is the power that is so terrifying that the owner is like a god. Next moment. Ha. In the face of Alan's power, Garp laughed and said, Alan. Don't think that with such power, you can do anything to Laozi, but that's all. Such an offensive can't be helped. Search. A stream of light swept across, and Garp's punch swept across, in an instant. Pieces of meteorites, in a very strange posture, were instantly destroyed. That's right. Completely destroyed. What does this represent? A little bit of understanding is very clear. Garp's power is too terrifying. One punch is to destroy everything. This is Garp's almost invincible power. But it's not over yet. The next moment Garp came straight to Alan, clenched a fist with one hand, and roared in a low voice. Alan. Let's see. In these 5 months, I have undergone a different transformation. Fist to the bone. The terrifying punch fell in an instant. This amazing power, as if everything was wiped out in an instant. The whole world returned to silence in this moment. That invincible posture, what people felt was only endless chills. Garp's punch wrapped around armament hockey. The power of this blow was too terrifying, as if it would destroy everything. In the eyes of some people, this punch actually covered the world. 99. Alan also felt the horror of Garp's punch. Compared with the fight with Kaido just now, Garp was like a joke. His mouth widened, and he said interestingly, Garp. Horrible ascension. Just right. Bull crash. Alan is also not afraid at all. Raising his fist is to wrap around armament hockey, but directly meets Garp's punch, without using Conqueror's wrap. Just kidding. Since Garp didn't use it, it would be a shame if he used it. As for Garp, that's not something Alan has to think about, and it doesn't really matter at all. Boom. In an instant. The power of the sky and the earth exploded in an instant. Everything seemed to collapse, and the terrifying shock wave directly overturned and annihilated the surrounding earth. This terrifying impact force. In a short period of time, the terrifying vibration force formed seems to destroy everything. Boom. In a short period of time, the sound of this endless explosion seemed to destroy everything. At this moment, the power that erupted was too terrifying. Both of them felt the invincible power of the other party, but also felt the pressure of the other party's terror. Ha. It's fun. 39. Alan's eyes were crazy, and it was the first time that he had encountered an opponent who could collide with himself holding the bull charm based on pure power. Come on. 95. Bring it on. Garp's eyes flickered with terrifying light, armament hockey, as if integrated into his blood. Under the terrifying power, Garp has reached an ultimate. Crackling. Boom. Under the collision of the terrifying forces of the two, it seemed that they were going to destroy everything. It was too terrifying. The forces collided. The terrifying impact force is gradually destroying everything around. Crackling. Boom. The attack of the two continued, and as the two fought, all the people around were not involved, whether it was Newgate, Kaido, Sengoku, or Crane, they were not involved. Newgate and Kaido know that this is the Big Brothers battle, they just need to watch it quietly, let's talk about it. They are pirates, they are like this anyway, since you have already killed us, so am I accepted, to put it bluntly. I don't care about itching when there are more lice, I don't care. And Sengoku and Crane are people who know the inside story. They know how huge the terrifying pressure is for Garp. It is a good thing to let Garp release like this, otherwise, if it continues, it's not a good thing. Crackling. Crackling. The endless collision resounded frantically. The two did not have any other skills, nor did they have any other collisions. It was a collision between fists and flesh, pure physical art. Hockey. Strength. The collision of the three. And it was the first time anyone could fight Alan like this. Garp's strength is really terrifyingly improved in 913, even to say. The speed of this improvement gives people a very strange feeling. This situation is really unexpected. In fact, after the end of the Valley of the Gods War, although it was only a short 5 months. But for Garp, it seems to have experienced several years, or even more time. During this long time, Garp a lot has changed. Garp's heart has also changed. It's not that Garp's will has changed, but after that battle, Garp can only work harder. In his own heart, he rapidly became stronger and obtained an extremely terrifying promotion. This is Garp's transformation. It's also Garp's sublimation. This sublimation, let Garp grow beyond the original. Seems to be the exact same growth. But it has become different. Garp feels the terrible pressure, not only the pressure of Shiki, Newgate, Roger, but also the pressure of the two monsters Alan and Valoric. And under such terrifying pressure, Garp seems to have evolved. That kind of strange evolution is the strangest thing, improving himself again and again. Getting stronger again and again. Of course, this is not without limits, but Garp knows. He is still not strong enough. He can only become stronger, only by surpassing his opponent step by step. And who is your opponent? In fact, there is no doubt about it. Ha, ha. Breathing heavily, Garp's face was filled with paleness, and his expression gradually became hideous and cruel. Alan. It seems that our battle is not over yet. Forget it. 35. Alan shook his head and said, Garp. It's boring. For you, this battle is over here, and your stamina can't keep up. Alan is very calm, and Garp's stamina is a big problem compared to himself, who has horse charms and dog charms. That's why, some powerhouses fight for 10 days and 10 nights, while some powerhouses fight in just a few hours, or even 1 or 2 hours. The reason is here. In such a high-intensity battle, no matter how strong the opponent is, they will gradually lose their physical strength. And Garp was simply unable to continue fighting with Alan because of his lack of physical strength. Physical strength became Garp's biggest shortcoming. Ha, ha. Breathing heavily, Garp's expression was very tough, as if he had made a decision. P.S. 5,000-word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 5th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 168. Celestial Dragons. It's not unkilled. Forget it. That's it. Alan lit a cigarette board, looked at Garp, and said casually, Sengoku, your plan was successful today, and that's it, it's really boring. Turn around. Alan said casually. Second, third, let's go. No problem. Big brother. It is good. The 3 brothers are ready to leave. Snapped. Snapped. At this moment, the sound of footsteps came, and the faces of Sengoku, Garp, and Crane instantly became extremely ugly, because the people who came were not ordinary people at all, they were wearing clothes like space suits, with that prototype hood, and this man, is celestial dragons. Yohaha. With this weird smile, the man said interestingly, is this the Moby Dick? It is really the largest ship in the world. Yes, yes, it is very suitable as the palace of this saint, that humble, despicable, low-level pirates. This sage gives you a chance to dedicate this ship to this sage can tell you to let go. 66.99. The people around were silent, or rather, everyone was silent, and everyone seemed to have no idea what to say, and Marine's trio, at this moment, looked even more ugly. Especially Sengoku. Plan. Obviously it has been successful, although it is said. This time the loss is very large, but the plan is really successful. As long as it is a perfect success, the next benefit will be huge, but at this time, celestial dragons appeared unexpectedly. This is simply unexpected, even to say. It is simply incomprehensible. Oh, Admiral, you dogs, hurry up and grab this vessel from this saint, don't let this saint be dissatisfied. The fat celestial dragons, with a graceful and luxurious appearance, did not take Sengoku, Garp, and Crane in his eyes at all, and his words were light, even to say. He directly regarded the 3 as his own dog. This is also the fundamental reason why Garp is unwilling to become Marine Admiral. Because you have become Admiral. Representative, you have truly become a dog of celestial dragons, and said, at this moment, the faces of the 2 are already extremely ugly. Humble ants. Did you not hear what this saint said? Celestial dragons looked at the three Edward brothers and said they stopped, but they looked at themselves with an idiot look, instantly angered, and roared. This saint wants you to die. Guys like you should die. 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 You shouldn't you rubbish, you don't need to take it seriously, you should die. This is your only destiny. And with this shrill and angry voice, the anger of celestial dragons, as if roaring frantically, listened to this familiar voice. What? Alan buckled his ears a little and said helplessly, seriously. I'm really not interested in you celestial dragons, can I get away from you? I'm in a good mood today, and I don't plan to kill you guys. These guys. Asshole. Asshole. Humble ants. Low-class people. Chops, what are you doing? Stab it. The roar of the celestial dragons was roaring like a spray, and along with the terrifying roar, two scorching heat rays burst out instantly and landed directly on the celestial dragons in front of him. In between, the blood burst, and the celestial dragons in front of him didn't even have any residue left. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Drops of blood fell on the ground, accompanied by endless silence and tranquility, making everyone seem to have fallen into silence, as if everyone didn't know what to say. Silence. At this moment, the entire Sabayati archipelago, and everyone who saw this scene around, maintained endless silence. They seemed to ignore their imagination. What kind of terrifying power is this? No, no, terrible. Gudong. Swallowing saliva deeply, some people wanted to scream, but they covered the corners of their mouths tightly, and some people even wanted to cry madly, but they didn't dare to make a sound, and everyone's face was full of expressions. Very nervous. It is too terrifying, they are too terrifying, at this moment. Everyone's face is extremely pale, it has really reached the limit. Gudong. Gudong. Swallowing saliva deeply, for them, they really can't imagine that this is celestial dragons. And at this moment, celestial dragons just died in front of their eyes. Call it shivering. Not at all. World noble celestial dragons. That is the descendant of the god who created the world. Even an existence like Marine Admiral, in the eyes of celestial dragons, is nothing more than a dog of theirs. And such a guy was killed like this at this moment. Like this. What he did is unimaginable. It's too scary. Cut. 99. Celestial dragons this kind of garbage, although it is not the first time to kill. But 35. Every time I slaughter such a guy, it makes me very unhappy. Alan was full of disdain, and his eyes were full of disgust, as if it was like crushing a bed bug, and it was a very unpleasant bed bug, but this attitude, for the people present, but it is the most terrifying thing. It is too terrifying, this is like a god like celestial dragons, just fell to the ground like this. This is completely unimaginable. Quote. Some people are gasping for breath, and even have a state of hypoxia gradually. This is really not a joke, but they are really full of endless fear, it is too horrible, that endless fear, as if swept through their whole bodies, their hearts are beating violently. Scanning all the people present one by one, Alan said boredly, second, third, it's really unpleasant. It was a good day, but this guy Garp's strength has improved quite amazingly. As a result, I encountered such a disappointing guy. What? Newgate held Kong Yunchi and said casually, brother. This kind of rubbish, will you change it to me next time? Worororo. Kaido even carried a mace and let out a familiar laugh, and said confidently, big brother. It's just such a piece of garbage, I just sprayed the heat to death and it's over. Cut. It's not your turn to worry about you two brats. Gone. Gone. Okay. 99. The two brothers looked at each other and smiled, while Alan had a smile on the corner of his mouth. This is the brother. Or, this is the real brother. They don't want to let the celestial dragons die at all. This matter is undertaken by myself, so I am willing to help myself to bear it all. This is the real brother, this is the real family, and those fake guys. It's not worth mentioning at all. Woo. Breathing out a puff of smoke, Alan and his two younger brothers have gradually walked towards the Moby Dick. And this time, stop. Sengoku suddenly spoke in a hoarse voice. He looked at Alan deeply, clenched his fists with both hands, his eyes flashed with terrifying light, and his eyes were sharp. Alan. Attack. Kill celestial dragons, this is the biggest sin. 35. Sin. Ha ha ha. Hearing Sengoku's words, he turned his head, and Alan laughed interestingly. Sengoku, you really don't become a dog of celestial dragons, do you? Don't make me laugh. How can you be called a guy like this? For sin. Just such a pig. Forget it. Forget it. Laozi is not interested in such a guy at all, Sengoku. Don't let Laozi become small, it's too boring. The sarcastic smile on the corner of Alan's mouth was too strong, as if he was looking at a dog. Looking at such a smile, Sengoku whispered, Edward Allen. No matter what you have done has violated the justice of the world government. You must pay for it. 6,699. Sengoku's voice almost came out of gritted teeth, and even said it. There were drops of blood dripping from the gums. So, are you going to try? Alan showed an interesting look and said interestingly, I can play with you. Buddha's impact. Dragon blast. Sengoku shot without hesitation, but in this moment, Alan's terrifying heat burst through in an instant, and a terrifying shock wave directly swept everything. A scene of weirdness. Boom. Sengoku unexpectedly lost to Alan and landed directly on his body. Seeing the scene of Sengoku, Alan raised his eyebrows, looked at Sengoku, and said secretly, "This guy Sengoku. Forget it. It's too boring." Looking at Sengoku, who was shot out instantly, Alan turned around in a bored manner and said, "Okay. Second, third, go, this battle is over, it's really boring." "It is good. No problem." The three brothers floated up and left gradually. For Alan, the battle was too boring. From the beginning to the end of the battle, Sengoku didn't really mean to fight, and in the face of this the opponent, he himself has no meaning. Seriously. If possible, Alan would definitely kill these three guys directly, it's a pity. Although it is said, Sengoku these three guys are acting with him, but you have to admit that the three guys the strength is very strong. And, again, for the powerhouses of this level, although I said I could hunt them down, but if Ishin wanted to leave, I couldn't kill them. The problem is, but it is almost impossible for you to really kill such a powerhouse. Now, Sengoku looked completely rotten. Alan was too lazy to say anything, the three brothers also left, and Sengoku lay in the deep pit, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, murmured. "Dao. It turns out. Is this what it feels like to be a human? Instead of saying it, it feels like a dog." He. With this faint smile, Sengoku closed his eyes. He didn't plan to continue to say anything, and he didn't plan to continue to do anything, even if it was punished. It doesn't matter. Sengoku doesn't care anymore. He has strengthened his heart, and his beliefs. Because of this, Sengoku has made a choice, and he must not let his plan fail, even if it is really embarrassing to be thrown home. But, Sengoku still stood by his beliefs. 66. Garp and Crane looked at each other, both of them shook their heads silently, they didn't choose to stop, or rather. They couldn't stop it at all. They didn't want to stop either, they also made the same choice as Sengoku, they wanted to maintain to yourself real justice, not give celestial dragons a dog. Wow. As the waves churned, the huge figure of the Moby Dick had gradually disappeared into the distance. It means that everything seems to be over, but this war, which is like playing a family, with the end of celestial dragons, it is a terrifying storm, and everything is just the beginning. No. 35. No. Sora stood up and said with sharp eyes, "Mr. Mori, you should know. Sengoku's admiral duties cannot be dismissed, otherwise. The impact on Marine is too great, even saying, will make the whole Marine collapse." 35. Listening to Sora's words, Sen said calmly, "Kong, what you said, I know very well, but the impact this time is really too great, if it were." Sora shook his head and said, "Mr. Mori, you are very clear. Marine's pillars are not me, but Sengoku, Garp, Zephyr and the others. If Sengoku's admiral is dismissed, the entire Marine will collapse in an instant. The result of..." Sighing slightly, Sora said it very clearly, and he was trying to persuade Sen, but the meaning was very simple, Sengoku definitely cannot remove admiral's position. That's right. The storm of this matter is just the beginning. Marine's defeat is nothing, but Celestial Dragons was beheaded, but Sengoku was defeated by one move, this is the biggest problem. Even the biggest problem. This is something that must be dealt with, and it is the fundamental core of everything. Therefore, Sora at this moment absolutely cannot allow Sengoku to be removed, this is a very important thing. The old man knows. Nord good, yeah. Sen thought for a while, and then said, "Kong, this old man knows how to deal with this matter, don't worry, Sengoku will not be dismissed, but in the past few months, Sengoku should not take any external actions. It is best to carry out clerical work, so that this matter can be temporarily suppressed." "Yes, Mr. Sen." Sora stood up, and then left. Seeing Sora leaving, Sen shook his head helplessly and said, "It's really troublesome. This time, Sengoku's plan, the old man can know what it means. Just, how did celestial dragons come to be? Explain." Sen really has a headache, seriously. Does celestial dragons die every year? Actually, have, and it is very many. The number of celestial dragons dying is very large. It is very strange that 7 or 8 people die every year, but the deaths of these celestial dragons are all in the dark, they are not in an open and above-mentioned situation. Those who died were like being in the Valley of the Gods, and Alan dealt with 30% in one go. After all, for the world government, when there are too many pigs, then is also a problem. Naturally, these pigs must be disposed of. If these pigs cannot be disposed of, raise them. Also a question. Because of this, there are actually many such things, but Celestial Dragons was beheaded in front of Marine Admiral, and finally Marine Admiral was defeated. This thing. Post. Sen really couldn't help rubbing his eyebrows, and at this moment, the door of the office was pushed open, and a figure in a clean white suit walked in and said indifferently, "Mr. Sen, the above command, this matter comes to an end." It is good. Sen nodded, of course it was the best to come to an end. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 6th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 169. The world's number 1 pirates. The Whitebeard Pirates. Creak. As the heavy door slowly closed, the 5 elders gathered in the room, very calm, even filled with endless indifference, as if they didn't care about what happened recently. Snapped. Snapped. Sitting on the sofa, he tapped the armrest lightly, while the blonde 5 elders said indifferently, "The Rock's pirate has just been destroyed for only 5 months, when the Whitebeard Pirates, led by the 3 Edward brothers, appeared and made it's interesting to do this, and it's also very dangerous." Indeed. The long-haired 5 elders agreed. The Whitebeard Pirates have spent so many years building the huge Moby Dick, and they adopted a large number of orphans, and defeated the Sombra organization, one of the Dark Emperors, and even more so. Killed celestial dragons and let Marine deal with him in a way of killing him, it seems. The 3 Edward brothers have great ambitions. The curly-haired 5 elders said indifferently. Looking at it now, it is indeed very ambitious, you can see it. The Edward brothers of the Whitebeard Pirates have an ambition comparable to that of the Rocks, and they want to become the king of the world. The bald 5 elders continued. This matter is something that cannot be determined, but one thing is certain, the other party seems to have prepared everything, and now it seems that things are very interesting. Single quote. But, at this time, the knife-wielding 5 elders said indifferently, it's not worth mentioning. It's just an ordinary and ambitious genius, such a person is not worth mentioning at all, not a member of the D family, it is not qualified to threaten us at all. It is also not qualified to awaken the devil fruit with the title of God, it is meaningless. The knife-wielding 5 elders are filled with endless indifference, and for this statement, the other 5 elders also nodded indifferently, and it was true. For 5 elders, for world government, there is only one person they are afraid of, and that is the people of the D family who are the natural enemies of God. Other than that, everything else is simply ignored, but they are ants that are not worth mentioning. Even if it is the descendant of the D family, even if the Rocks are so powerful. In fact, this is meaningless. For the 5 elders, the only thing they really fear is the one who is like the devil fruit of God, and it must be. It is to develop that devil fruit to the level of awakening. If it is not awakened, everything is meaningless. This is the most fundamental and core root cause, or in other words, this is the power that the 5 elders fear. As for everything else, I didn't care about it at all, it's just a group of ants that don't need special attention. No need to be in the eye at all. This is the heart of the 5 elders. Or rather, this is the heart of the real 5 elders. For the 5 elders, everything else is nothing worth mentioning at all. It is the most fundamental. The core of everything. Except for the D family who ate that devil fruit, everything else. It's meaningless. Never mind. The blonde 5 elders said calmly, it's just mere ants, you don't need to take it too seriously. At most, in the future, it will grow into a superpower like the Land of Flowers, and it would be nice to help balance the new world a little bit, other than that. Outside, has that devil fruit disappeared again? The curly-haired 5 elders nodded and said, after we competed with Rocks, the devil fruit disappeared again, obviously. The devil fruit has always possessed his own consciousness, trying to avoid it and not let itself fall into our hands. This also made the world government never get the devil fruit for 800 years. The bald 5 elders said indifferently, this is not a strange thing, after all, it is the only devil fruit that has the name of a god among all the devil fruits, and it is not surprising that it possesses such a special power. But, the long-haired 5 elders said lightly, it's okay, we continue to look for that devil fruit, we change the name of that devil fruit, and change the power of that devil fruit, making it disappear in history forever. In the long river, it disappears without a trace forever. It will never appear again. Indeed, the knife-wielding 5 elders continued, no matter what it is. It's best not to leave the devil fruit outside, and finding a way to get the devil fruit back is the most important thing. This is our mission, that devil fruit. As long as the fruit falls in our hands, the world government can rule the world forever. The 5 elders all nodded solemnly, compared to the 3 Edward brothers and so on. Then let Marine play along, it's not worth mentioning at all. In the eyes of the 5 elders, only the D family and that devil fruit is the most worthy of attention. Besides, everything else is not worth mentioning at all, and in order to have the power to threaten the world government, the D family must eat the devil fruit and develop it to the level of awakening. Beyond that, it's different. As for talking, in the original book, why didn't the 5 elders take any special action when they knew that Luffy had eaten the Nika fruit? The 5 elders knew, but, just because they knew, the 5 elders could not take any orders. It was the era of the great pirates, and it was an era of great chaos. If at that time, the 5 elders issued a death order, but as long as it was not, all idiots know that this must be a problem. In particular, don't forget, this world. Why is world government world government? The most fundamental point is, this behemoth that has been standing above the world for 800 years, although the owner can be called an invincible force, but this is actually, many forces united can still compete against the world government. In those chaotic times, if the 5 elders were to come to light, the entire world would have to be instantly connected to ultimate. Of course. These are things to come later. Now for the 5 elders, the 3 Edward brothers. The Whitebeard Pirates. Okay. You Marines, let's play slowly. This time, the celestial dragons thing is not happening, and we don't have time to worry about it. Such a simple thing is too lazy to care about it. That's what they think, and that's their situation, and the 5 elders really don't care. Wow, wow. With the roar of the waves, Roger looked at the reward order in his hand, and the whole person smacked his lips. Rayleigh, Jabba, and others, you look. These guys from the Whitebeard Pirates, one by one. Ling, but the rise is really terrifying. It's like a monster. Let me see. I see. 35. Everyone came over, looking at the reward orders, they were also full of endless shock. And Rayleigh pondered. What the hell did the Whitebeard Pirates do? Ghost knows. It's not very clear. Let me ask. 35. Rayleigh took out the phone bug and started asking Shaki in Sabayati Archipelago, It's really interesting to know the 2 people, in other words. These 2 people are like childhood sweethearts, only. Because of their respective because of the character, it is more or less a problem. He tilde operator tilde operator tilde operator. Ha ha ha. Quote. Seeing this action of Rayleigh, everyone couldn't help laughing, and they all showed a mocking smile, but they thought it was very interesting. But, Rayleigh doesn't care either, he's used to it, and soon. The phone bug hangs up, and Rayleigh said, the Whitebeard Pirates destroyed the entire Black Shadow Island in Sombra Island, then entered the Sabayati Archipelago, and faced Marine in the Sabayati Archipelago. Siege of Sengoku, Garp, Zephyr, Crane and 7 Vice Admiral, 5,000 Marine Elite, and 10 battleships. Hiss. Is it so scary? Jabba couldn't help but stunned and seemed to be in disbelief. Is such a terrifying strength. This is more or less too scary. Rayleigh nodded and said, and. It's not over yet. Besides, in this war, 2 Marine Vice Admiral were killed, 3,000 Marine Elite were killed, and 3 Zephyr, Sengoku, and Garp were injured, and even the Say. A Celestial Dragons was beheaded. 35. Hearing this, Roger was stunned and said in astonishment, that's not right. Alan and the 3 guys, although they are very terrifying, but it is impossible to defeat Marine. This is not a joke. Marine's the strength AGFJ is not so weak, and the 3 Edward brothers cannot be so strong. 35. That's right. Rayleigh nodded and said, this is Sengoku's plan, the damage is indeed too great, and with celestial dragons directly beheaded, if nothing else, Sengoku is estimated to be a civilian during this time. Other than that, the most important thing is the fundamental core. Sengoku wants to kill the Whitebeard Pirates, read the newspaper. Now the Whitebeard Pirates have been named the world's #1 pirates. 35. That's right. That's right. The world's #1 pirate group. 35. I don't think we are weaker than the Whitebeard Pirates. 99. Yes, Captain, Rayleigh, Jabba, were not weak either. Everyone was discussing in 2s and 3s, and Roger didn't care. He rubbed his chin and thought about it. If this is the case, then the situation is a bit interesting. Obviously, Sengoku's idea is to kill Alan, but in the end, it was clearly unexpected for such huge casualties and the death of celestial dragons. What? Rayleigh nodded and said, the reason is that Alan's strength has become more terrifying in the past 5 months. He has also become more powerful. Sengoku's misjudgment caused such a huge casualty. Quote. I see. Roger nodded clearly, clenched his fist with one hand, a terrifying conqueror's haki burst out, and said sharply, in this case, it's a very interesting thing. I'm also getting stronger, I just want to see it. Look how far Alan has come. Just like Garp, Roger did not feel that he was invincible after the war in the Valley of the Gods. Quite the opposite. Roger is exactly the same as Garp. Instead, he blames himself all the time and feels that he is too weak. Under this kind of heart, Roger has also been greatly improved, and his strength has increased rapidly and amazingly. Rayleigh nodded and continued, this is only one thing. The second point is the situation of the Moby Dick. The Moby Dick, that pirate ship the size of an island. What's there to say? Everyone thinks it is very strange, isn't it a large pirate ship? As long as this thing has money, it is basically no problem to build it. It's just that. Rayleigh swept over everyone one by one, and said seriously, this matter is not that simple. It is even said, maybe you can't imagine that the Moby Dick suffered the roar of gunfire from 10 marine battleships, and Sengoku's shock wave, still unscathed, even without any damage. 6,699. Moment. Everyone's eyes widened in shock, and their eyes were full of disbelief. What the F***K? What the hell? Is this a joke? Stop it. This is like a joke. It was a marine battleship that was twice as strong as Buster Call, plus Sengoku's shock wave, and it was unscathed, and it was Moby who was relying on the situation that no one else was taking precautions. How tough is the Dick itself? This moment, everyone suddenly understood what the 3 Edward brothers spent so many years building this pirate ship. This is a terrifying mobile fortress, and it is simply an invincible fortress. Everyone in the Roger Pirates began to get serious, and they all had different ideas. The world's #1 pirates, Whitebeard Pirates. This name has resounded throughout the world, Almost everyone knows this name, and because of this, everyone at this moment has fallen into a kind of silence. Everyone is thinking about this problem. Snapped. Snapped. On this isolated island, Akoku, John, Silver Axe, 3 people gathered here by coincidence. Everyone's expression is very indifferent, and it is full of endless calm, as if there is no emotion at all. It gives people a very wonderful, even very strange feeling. You see it all, Akoku said calmly. Although the strength of the Whitebeard Pirates is said. This is the result of Marines killing, but it can be seen from the bounty order alone that the strength of the Whitebeard Pirates is still very terrifying. Although Silver Axe is unhappy, but Silver Axe at this moment also knows that this is not something that he should be arrogant, but nodded seriously. I see. Also, I can see it very clearly, the Whitebeard Pirates are very Chang, although it's just a group of little devils. But as long as these little devils are given time to grow, plus the 3 Edward brothers and the terrifying Moby Dick, the future strength will be extremely terrifying. 39. While drinking, John said casually, so, do you have any ideas? Are you planning an alliance? Or just forget it? 35. Gudong. Gudong. Drinking in big gulps, John is an indifferent thing, it seems that no matter what it is a random thing. Alliance. Silver Axe squinted his eyes and said sharply, Akoku, what are your thoughts? Are you planning to give the alliance a try, or will you always be trampled under the feet of the 3 Edward brothers? Alliance. Akoku squinted his eyes and seemed to be thinking about something. No one knew what the man was thinking. It is undeniable, Akoku can keenly perceive the problem. Because of this, a person who plays with his brain is the best scary. And what does Akoku want to do? What does Akoku want to do next? That's the most important thing. And the most fundamental thing, isn't it? It is undeniable to say. All these are the fundamental core, and at this moment, Akoku said indifferently, alliance, sometimes it is indeed necessary. However, let's take a look, the next development trend is good. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. First update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 170. The total reward is 25 billion Bailey. Halala. Wow. As the waves rolled, and a pirate ship was sailing on the sea, a huge whale pirate ship emerged. This pirate ship is the Moby Dick. That scene from Sabayati Archipelago, the same battle, 3 days have passed. And everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates has already returned to the New World. How did they get back? Go to the sea. If you can't drill into the mountains, you can directly drill through the red line. Anyway, any method is possible. This is nothing at all. Meaningful things. Whiteby took over a new round of newspapers from Newsbird, and handed Bailey directly to Newsbird. Gah. The Newsbird left contentedly, and Whiteby spread out the newspaper in his hand, and at first sight was a reward order, which made Whiteby stunned. Uncle. 35. 35. Whitebeard's eyes widened in disbelief. He never dreamed that this bounty was real. What a terrifying bounty is this? It's completely unbelievable, isn't it? What? A new bounty. 99. Oh my god. This is. Everyone came over one by one, and a group of little guys were very curious, especially when they saw Whiteby holding the pile of reward orders, which were as heavy as documents. Everyone was even more curious. Everyone is very curious as to what the situation is. Little girl. Alan waved his hand and asked casually, what does the latest bounty look like? Uncle. 99. Whitebeard nodded obediently and said, the latest reward order, all of our Whitebeard pirates have been rewarded. Except for the logistics personnel, every combatant has already been rewarded. A total of 2,098 people have been rewarded, and everyone has been rewarded. Oh, the corners of Alan's mouth twitched. He sat down on the sofa casually, lit a cigarette and said, little girl, tell me, what's the situation? Okay, uncle. Goo la la la. Worororo. Before Whiteby could say anything, both Newgate and Kaido strode. Newgate said casually, brother, you don't say wait for us for such a thing. Kaido nodded and said, no. Brother, you are really selfish. Shut up. You two bastards. Sit down and listen. No problem. The 3 brothers all sat down, drinking and drinking, smoking and smoking, waiting for Whiteby to say something. All in all, it really doesn't look like a good person. Dad. 3 uncles. After Whitebeard said hello, he continued. Our Whitebeard pirates have a total of 2,074 people, excluding our uncle Ines, and the bounty for each of them is 1 million Bailey, which is not very high. But, everyone is being offered a reward, all the staff are offering a reward, this number is really too amazing. Oh, Alan is interested, and everyone is offering a reward. 2,740,000 Bailey. Is this number high? It doesn't seem to be high. After all, 2074 people were offered a bounty at the same time, and the result was only 20 to 740,000. It seems that this is the case. However, if you think about it, you will find that these people are in the Whitebeard Pirates. They are just a bunch of little devils. And they are a group of little devils who haven't grown up yet. I've got a bounty. 1 million Baileys. That's awesome. Yes. 39. He tilde operator tilde operator tilde operator. Work hard, work hard. Our future bounty is definitely more. 35. Ha ha ha. These little guys started to discuss in twos and threes, and they were all very excited, and some of the kiddies who originally belonged to Rock's Pirate, their original bounty was 1 million Bailey, but there was no increase. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed interestingly. Brother. It's interesting. I didn't expect that the strength of our Whitebeard Pirates has reached the level of the Rock's Pirate. 35. Ha ha ha. Woo. Alan also exhaled a puff of smoke and laughed loudly. It's really quite good. But, little brats, it's all for Laozi to be serious, if it wasn't for Marine's flattery. You guys are not worthy of such a 100 Wanbelly's bounty. Uncle, you can rest assured, we will be fine. Ha ha ha. That's right. That's right. It's really fun. Everyone is laughing excitedly, and they are all very excited, joking. How could they stop here? It's like a joke. If they stop here, it would be too embarrassing. If they are so young, if they can't grow up in the future, it is extremely shameful. Alan nodded, not bad. Any pirate group, many ordinary pirates, will be rewarded, but many times, these pirates, most of the time, the reward is 100,000 Bailey, or even 10,000 Bailey. At this level, some higher ones may be 500,000 Baileys, or 800,000 Baileys. So far, in addition to the Rock's Pirate, they are the ordinary pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates, reaching 1 million Baileys. But, the only difference is that the Rock's Pirate strength has such strength, but the Whitebeard Pirates have not achieved such strength at all, even to say. It is not a level of strength at all, it is just marine for the Whitebeard Pirates. The group was slaughtered. The world's no. 1 Pirates, Whitebeard Pirates. This is pure flattery. After all, unlike the Cadres, these are just ordinary pirates, and many ordinary pirates in the pirate group have no bounty orders at all. And they actually have a reward of 1 million Baileys, just know, what is the concept? Well, Newgate was leaning on the sofa, holding a cigar, and said casually, whatever it is. This is also a whiplash for the little boys. The little boys are all serious about Laozi, right? Debay, continue to talk about it, what about the follow-up bounty? Okay. Dad, Whitebeard distributed the reward orders, and at this time, other personnel also arrived one by one. Many people came over curiously, as if they wanted to know how much their reward orders were. First of all, the eldest brother, Black Tiger Bagley, has a reward of 790 million Bailey. What? Bagley was stunned for a moment and said in astonishment, I've actually reached 790 million Bailey's strength. This number is a bit too much. In the original book, the strength of the cadres of the Whitebeard Pirates started from 500 million and reached 1 billion. As for Marco, Jin, Katakuri, and Beckman, the strengths are different. To a certain extent, the bounty also represents strength. But, Bagley is definitely not worthy of this level of bounty. Kaido pondered and said, according to Bagley's strength, the bounty is probably around 300 million, which is indeed not worthy of the 790 million Bailey's bounty, and Tiger's strength is almost at this level. 0.35. That's right. Bagley and Tiger's current strength is the bounty of 300 million Baileys, more than the average captain. Officer. This is not a problem, but is it really worth the bounty of 800 million Baileys? This is pure joke. This is really not a suitable level, or rather, there is no comparison. 9. Both Bagley and Tiger nodded, and the two brothers knew very well that their strength was very strong, but it is absolutely impossible to reach that level, and this situation is absolutely normal. Correct. Big Brother Tiger's bounty also reached 780 million Bailey. 35. Well, Alan said casually. Sure enough, just as I guessed, in order to make the Whitebeard Pirates the #1 pirate group in the world, Marine really didn't have any hesitations, this is a real blow to us. Joke. The bounties of the two brats, Bagley and Tiger, have already added up to a bounty of more than 1.5 billion Baileys, which is like a joke. Whiteby continued. Others. Phoenix Marco, a reward of 150 million Baileys. 35. Marco took the bounty in shock and couldn't believe it. He was just a kid with a bounty of 150 million. Diamond Yoja, a bounty of 150 million Bailey. Foil Beasta, a bounty of 150 million Baileys. Sea Hero Jinbei, the bounty is 150 million Bailey. Golden Emperor Tezzolo, a bounty of 150 million Baileys. Pocket King Bramank, a bounty of 150 million Bailey. 6,699. One by one, the little guys looked at their bounty orders, and they were completely dumbfounded. They never thought that their bounty had reached such a level, even. I can't imagine what this is. What the hell? For a while, the situation seemed to be getting weird, and after Whitebeard distributed these bounty orders, Alan couldn't help but complained. I won't say anything about Marco, Joe's, Beasta, Jinbei, it's located in, Bramank, what's the matter with your title? 35. That, Bramank scratched his head and said, I took something out of my pocket in front of people. That's why I'm called the King of Pockets, right? 99. Tezzolo raised 10 fingers and said, Uncle, is it because I have gold rings on all 10 fingers? 0. Ask for flowers. Jinbei tilted his head and said, I may have saved 2 people in Sabayati Archipelago. Beasta looked at the uncle and put his eyes on himself, and said, that. Uncle, it may be because I pretended to be a wave, so when I pretended to force the knife, I randomly sprinkled a flower. 66.35. Listening to the introduction of the little guys. Alan doesn't know what to say. How should I put it? These titles are indeed not a problem, if they are placed in the future. The bounty of these little guys is definitely qualified, these titles, is also very qualified. But the problem is, at this time, they are not qualified at all, I can only say. In order to kill the Whitebeard Pirates, Sengoku really bothered. What nicknames are they really? They are all casually given up. Get on it. Chameleon Gamenio, with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. Descendants of the Devil Bullet, with a bounty of 300 million Bailey. 39. Volcano Abel, a bounty of 300 million Baileys. Momosagi Gion, a bounty of 300 million Bailey is offered. 9. Evil Shark Namur, with a bounty of 300 million Bailey. Walrus Ilawong, with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. 39. Octopus Karma, a bounty of 300 million Baileys. Widdeeb, the Witch of Ice, with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. Giant Bug Epoida, with a bounty of 300 million Bailey. Big Mouth Andre, with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. Ranger Dorma, with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. 35. The Big Vortex Spider Squad, with a bounty of 300 million Bailey. Leeching Makugai, with a reward of 300 million Baileys. 99. With Whiteby, everyone's bounty orders are said in one breath. How to say, in addition to the fancy titles, the bounty is definitely not right. These little guys, one by one corresponds to several thousand won Bailey is quite good, can reach the level of 300 million Bailey. It's just like a joke. Don't look at each of them as if they are very powerful, in fact. This is that Marine has no real shot at all. As for Black Shadow Island. What kind of rubbish is that? It doesn't need to be looked down upon, it's pure rubbish. 13 people. The total bounty has reached a total of 3.9 billion Baileys. Such a terrifying number of Baileys, including the previous 900 million Baileys, has reached nearly 5 billion. If counting the bounty from everyone before, darling. This is almost a terrifying amount of nearly 9 billion Baileys. It's not a joke to say that such a terrifying amount of bounty, placed on the sea, is already as powerful as a monster. The most important thing is, this is only the bounty of all the crew members, not counting the Whitebeard Pirates. The real core of the group is the 3 real captains. Brother Edward. Oh who? Alan was interested. He exhaled a wisp of green smoke, and said interestingly, little girl, how much is Lao Tzu's bounty? It's interesting. This guy Sengoku seems to be planning to give us a very high status. Search. Interestingly, he licked the corners of his mouth, but he felt more and more interesting. Not kidding, he said, the level of the Whitebeard Pirates is a bit too amazing. Of course. Seriously. Anyone who is not an idiot knows that the Whitebeard Pirates are definitely not worthy of this level of bounty, but because of this is the most terrifying scene. Next, the entire sea. For the Whitebeard Pirates the strength is very ferocious. It is even said that they may show an unparalleled terrifying attitude. For their terrifying lunatics, what would they do? In fact, it became very clear after a little thought. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed interestingly, but it's really getting more and more interesting. Kaido asked interestingly, Whitebeard, what is the total bounty of our Whitebeard Pirates? Total. Looking at the 3 bounty orders left in front of Whiteby, he was also slightly hesitant. Although he said it was not the first time I saw it, but I still felt an unparalleled shock. What? Yes. 35. Everyone is very curious, they are all looking at Whitebeard, waiting to see what Whitebeard has to say. How amazing is the total bounty of the Whitebeard Pirates? To know, the total bounty of these people has reached almost 9 billion Bailey, and if you count these 3 uncles, fathers, uncles, etc. Then it is estimated that it is completely different. Whitebeard said seriously. Uncle. Dad. Third uncle. In terms of the bounty, the total bounty of our Whitebeard Pirates may have reached almost 25 billion Baileys, such a bounty. The amount of gold is too terrifying. Hiss. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. Second update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 171. Provocation. Then kill them for fear. Demon. Edward Allen. Bounty. 5.6 billion Bailey. Whitebeard. Edward Newgate. Bounty. 5.1 billion Bailey. Blue Dragon. Edward Kaido. Bounty. 4.6 billion Baileys. As Whiteby read out the reward orders of the uncle, father and third uncle one by one, although it is said that it is not the first time I have seen it, but such a terrifying reward order, when it is really read out, it's still so scary. It is too much to make people feel such a terrible bounty. This huge bounty makes people feel endlessly terrified. This is a bounty of 25 billion Baileys. What is this concept? Above this sea, with the demise of Rock's pirate, Such a bounty is almost enough for most of the pirates in the sea, and such a terrifying bounty, you don't need to think about it, you don't have to think about it. It's terrifying. Wow, wow. As the waves rolled and slapped on the Moby Dick, everyone was shocked and couldn't help roaring. F***K. Is this really too high? Yes. 35. Uncle. Dad. Third uncle. Is it so scary? 35. OMG. 39. We Whitebeard Pirates are the number one pirates in the world, right? A group of little ghosts are chatting, a very excited look, and this look is the most interesting. Okay. Alan waved his hand and said casually, calm down for Laozi. Really? What a big deal. The world's number one pirate group. Laozi is very interested in this name. But you little bastard, strength, but not enough for this qualification. Are you qualified to be called the world's number one pirate group? 35. 66. Listening to Alan's scolding, all the September 17th brats bowed their heads. They felt a sense of fear. They all felt Alan's dissatisfaction, but the next moment, they rose up. The raging flames. Every breath seems to have been greatly improved. There are terrifying rays of light in their eyes, and the little ghosts are full of huge killing intent, and there are sharp rays of light in their eyes. Ha ha ha. Looking at these little devils, Alan also laughed sassily. Yes. Not bad. It's just that we want such a spirit. One by one we'll give Laozi such a spirit. What are you afraid of? The future of the sea belongs to us, don't any fear. Remember. 35. Roar. Uncle. We got it. 95. Ha ha ha. The little guys are all very excited, and they are all crazy, and they are roaring with excitement. The roaring sound is like crazy. Ha ha ha. Alan also had a crazy smile. His eyes flashed with terrifying light, and those sharp eyes, like a devil, were obviously ready for everything, or rather. Alan has terrifying ambitions, and this ambition naturally needs the support of this group of little devils. For everyone, if they are not prepared, the dangerous sea in the future will become more and more interesting. Cultivation. 35. That's right. 5. Oh who. 99. The little ghosts all ran away excitedly, while Alan sat on the sofa with his legs crossed, and said casually, second, third, what do you think, and what will happen next? Newgate rubbed his chin casually and said, brother. This time Sengoku's situation is a danger for us, but it's also a good thing. These little brats are feeling this huge pressure. Under such circumstances, the strength will also be greatly improved. Alan thought for a while, then nodded and said, that's true. But such a result is also a good thing, just wait and see. I think it's quite interesting. What? The three brothers looked at each other, and they all had a smile on their face. The smile was very strong. This matter. It won't end like this, even saying it. This is just the beginning. They all know very well that, for this world, the Whitebeard Pirates have become a thorn in their side, and thorns in the flesh are no exaggeration. And what will the next result be? This is the most interesting thing. Hee. An interesting smile emerged. Alan leaned on the sofa, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he said interestingly, second, third. What do you think will be the next result? Or rather, follow-up, will Marine continue to move? Shouldn't it be? Kaido thought for a while and said, brother. According to the current situation, Marine will not continue to participate in it at all. After all, Sengoku has not lost the position of Admiral of Headquarters. After all, Sengoku has not lost the position of Admiral of Headquarters. It's very good. Well, indeed. 5. Never mind. Alan leaned on the sofa, the corners of his mouth grinned, and the whole person looked extremely hideous, and said casually, next, everything is the most interesting, isn't it? Ha ha ha. Crazy and hideous laughter seemed to echo in everyone's ears. To kill the Whitebeard Pirates. Come on then. I would like to see what these provocative guys are those looking for death are trying to do, aren't they afraid? Then I will kill these guys to the point where they are completely scared. Dude. The third. 55. Alan's eyes shone with crimson light, as if he was an evil spirit, and said hideously, next. But it's getting more and more interesting. I think it's quite interesting. What will the next result be? 99. Ha ha ha. Holding his forehead with one hand, Alan seems to be a crazy demon, and the terrifying side is the most terrifying. Goo la la la. Newgate raised his foot on the coffee table and said cruelly, I'm also looking forward to it very much now. Gudong. Worororo. He drank heavily, and Kaido laughed as he was familiar, big brother. Second brother. This era belongs to our era. It's normal for these guys to feel uncomfortable, but unfortunately, no one can change it. Because this is our time, absolutely our time. Humph. The three brothers looked at each other, and a smile appeared at the same time. See Circle Calendar 1485. New Year. It has passed. It has been 10 months since the end of the Valley of the Gods War, and during these 10 months, the Whitebeard Pirates swept the whole world with absolute power, telling the world who is this one. The boss of the world. Who is the master of this world? In this world, who is the most terrifying? Take action to directly defeat the Sombra organization, one of the Dark Emperors. Defeat the Marine elite in the Sabayati archipelago and kill the celestial dragons. New world. It has gone through countless wars, and under such circumstances, what will be the next result? It is undeniable that no matter what the result is, the Whitebeard Pirates have already shown it. The almost invincible power is telling everyone how terrifying the power of the Whitebeard Pirates is. Guys, is this the Moby Dick? Ha ha ha, 35. It's nothing but a giant tortoise shell. Bros, kill it. Roar. With this deafening roar, with this crazy roar, and this pirate ship has launched an attack, their eyes flashed with horror and madness, as if they were crazy. Fire burst. With this low roar, and in an instant, a pitch-black figure appeared in the sky, clenching a fist with one hand. The terrifying, scorching magma burst out instantly, forming a terrifying meteor shower, falling from the sky fell down. Boom. With this deafening roar, it seems that everything has fallen into silence, and the entire sea has fallen into silence, which makes people feel a very strange, even very strange feeling. It is too terrifying, even say. This power, I can only feel endless fear. The terrifying power that erupted at this moment makes people feel as if they are trembling. And this power, needless to say, belongs to lava fruit. Floating in the air, Abel looked at everything below, and raised his mouth indifferently, but said indifferently, just a bunch of garbage. How dare you attack the Moby Dick? It's not worth it at all. Just a mention. Pooh. Taking a sip at random, Abel turned around and left, as if there were no emotional fluctuations in his eyes, indeed. For Abel, it is simply not to put these garbage in his eyes, after all. It's just a group of people, it's just rubbish. Do you still need to care about this rubbish? It's like a joke. Brush. Turning around and flying high, Abel left instantly, and with Abel's departure, everything became much simpler. This is how the battle ends. Abel. Marco was sitting on the whale head of the Moby Dick, and Abel, who was looking back, greeted him with a smile. Abel also fell down and said with a smile, Marco, are you sitting here again? Well, just sit here and take a look. Marco said casually, after all, I don't know what the next thing is going to be like, I just have to take a look. He. Marco smiled casually, but it is undeniable that Marco is right, there should be other pirates coming, although it is said. Because of his age, Marco has hardly participated in the battle, but Marco the strength is also always improving 0. Abel smiled and said. These things are nothing in the first place, and you don't need to pay too much attention to them, right? Marco, is your training over today? It's already over. Operator. Marco said confidently. As a person with the ability of the Phoenix fruit, how could it be impossible to even complete the training? Ha ha ha. Abel couldn't help laughing too. Indeed. During training, even Carmenio and Bullet will be weak, but only Marco and Abel can recover again in a short period of time after each training, which is actually very good. Simple. After all, one devil fruit is very special, and the other is a very special race, there is no doubt about it. Let's go. Gone back. What? The two brothers stood up and flew back towards the interior of the Moby Dick at the same time. On the other side, snapped. Located in the sea, and several figures are quickly colliding. It is Taij, Jinbei, Namur, Ilawang, Karma and other 5 Murlocs, in addition to their 5 Murlocs. There are about 100 Murlocs, and they are all followers who are training. Drink. What? Murloc Karate, Murloc Jiu-Jitsu, and Murloc Jujutsu, all of which show their power to the fullest, and they are all practicing very hard. Normally speaking, ordinary Murlocs are definitely not qualified to practice the profound meanings of these 3 high-level skills, which is not surprising. This is the bottom of the Dragon Palace Kingdom, just. Alan's strength and status are there, while Neptune's naturally, they were taken out obediently. And this kind of high-level profound meaning must be taught directly to Tiger and others. Alan doesn't care at all. He glanced at it a little and felt that it was not suitable for him at all. This is not a strange thing. Ha. Everyone was gasping for breath, everyone's eyes were very sharp, and Tiger said seriously, yes. Not bad. The training this time was very good, and you all got excellent results. Uplift. Next, take a little break and continue to hone in. Yes. Everyone nodded seriously, during these 5 months. The entire Whitebeard Pirates. Yes, it can be said that huge changes have taken place. It is undeniable that the Whitebeard Pirates have nearly 100 or even more during the 5-month period. The pirates swept in. That's right. It is so terrifying, maybe many people will be surprised, does New World have so many pirates? It turns out it is. With the demise of the Rocks Pirate, now this is a gathering of heroes, a new era of outbreaks. And in such an era, there is no need to doubt what will happen, 5.9 because it is beyond doubt. Who is it even? This is something you don't need to consider at all. Every day, a large number of pirate groups enter the New World. Now in the New World, there are at least tens of thousands, or even more pirate groups. They want to be the best in one step. What is the solution? That is to challenge the strong, for pirates. This is a group of lunatics who put their heads on the belt of their pants. They don't care about death at all, and they don't care what happens next. They are a group of such guys, they are a group of real lunatics, and such lunatics, what will the next result be? In fact, there is no doubt about it. There is no need to doubt it. They launched the challenge without hesitation, although the final result was death, but under such circumstances, the improvement brought by these little devils of the Whitebeard Pirates is also very huge. There is absolutely no doubt the thing, really a very huge boost. This is no joke. It's actually a very big improvement. The strength of the little devils has been greatly improved, and this strength. It is definitely the most terrifying, and the most terrifying thing. Is there any doubt about this? Hee. No doubt about it, this is the best thing ever for the Whitebeard Pirates. Power up. This is the most important thing, after all. Alan's ambition is not only to make the world the strongest in the world, but also to make the Whitebeard Pirates the real #1 in the world, and become the pinnacle of the world, and in this case, then it is necessary to show enough strength, otherwise. This is something that cannot be successful. P.S. 5,000-word chapter. Daily 6 updates. Third update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 172. Curse Blue Template 70%. Gravity Training Room. Drink. 55. What? Everyone in the entire Whitebeard Pirates is working very hard and is training very seriously. There is absolutely no pause in the training of strength, and there is no pause. They have shown extremely high performance. Toughness and amazing strength are fully displayed. He let out a deep breath of turbid air, everyone let out a long sigh, and then returned to calm, accompanied by a smile, all with a smile, slightly moving their muscles and bones, and they all began to discuss with each other. Today the training is almost over, it's time to take a good rest. On the other side, crackling. The long sword in Guillaume's hand is also due to the fact that Wadebe is fighting. Although it is said that as a frozen fruit person, Wadebe's weapon still uses a long sword as a weapon. The offensive of the two is very amazing and extremely fast. Below, there are afterimages passing by. Both of them are the kind of speed-type players, the speed is extremely fast, and the speed of everyone's deployment is extremely fast and amazing. Snapped. Under such a confrontation, every day is like this, and the strength of the two little girls will naturally be improved very quickly. Of course, these are nothing, the most important thing is. This also tells everyone that the Whitebeard Pirates are thriving, and the strength of the entire Whitebeard Pirates is rapidly improving. In the past 5 months, the number of people has increased from the original more than 2,000 people. The number of people increased to 2,500 in one go. According to the characters of Newgate and Kaido, it is not surprising that Newgate recognizes his son wherever he goes, while Kaido goes out every day and always brings back a group of little ghosts inexplicably, and the result naturally becomes like this, no more words needed. Taking a deep breath, Guillaume shook his head and said, Wadebe, let's stop here. That's it for today. Alright, Wadebe also smiled and nodded. In fact, considering the age, the two little girls are about the same age, and because of this, the two little girls seem to be very complementary to each other, and there is no difference in strength between the two girls. Pull away. Actually, it is a completely different matter. The strength of the two girls will not be much different at this age, after all. The aptitude has not been fully demonstrated, but as the age continues to grow, then it is completely different. The gap will undoubtedly show at this age. This is something that does not need to be doubted. Whitebeard wiped the sweat from his forehead, then raised his hand. Wisps of freezing air swept across, making Guillaume's sweat gradually dissipate. Guillaume chuckled and said, Wadebe, your ability is very suitable as an air conditioner. Whitebeard shook his head with a smile and said, well, it always has to be useful, otherwise, it will always feel very bad. The two women looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh, and as the two women left each other, they were ready to go to dinner. It is worth mentioning that on the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard Pirates, they prepared a food street. On the food street, there are a large number of chefs from all over the world, and the dishes they prepare naturally do not need to be said. There is absolutely no need to doubt it. And this is for everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates, everyone can taste the food in the food street. In fact, under the research of the 3 Edward brothers, in addition to training, the lives of the Whitebeard Pirates are truly a human life. Whether it is relaxing massage, feasting, entertainment, or food enjoyment, basically all exist. Streets are specially prepared. These streets are specially created and prepared. Because of this, these streets, the enjoyment of the Whitebeard Pirates, are not like pirates at all. Exclamation mark. Under this kind of enjoyment, what do you need to pay? It is hard work. If you don't have enough strength, you can learn other occupations and become a logistics staff. The 3 brothers are also allowed. But if you plan to eat dry rice. Anyway, the 3 brothers have not met, the same. If they met, what would the result be? In fact, it is self-evident. Guillaume, Year, Whitey just walking to the food street, the 2 women saw Jose, Bista and Bramank. Guillaume and Whitey also came over and said hello. Jose, Bista, Bramank, is the training of the 3 of you over too? Jose nodded and said, it's over, now. It's time to take a break, but recently, I've been too tired. For you, it should be very busy, right? Nothing. Whiteby smiled and shook his head. It's nothing, after all. It's just a little battle. These battles are nothing, of course. For us, such battles are nothing. A bad thing, on the contrary, it is a good thing. Indeed. Listening to Whiteby's words, Guillaume also nodded with a smile. In the battles one after another, the most powerful is the strength you hone. It's the second uncle and the third uncle, and they are not working hard recently. Become stronger. Yes. Referring to this matter, Beasta said full of emotion, Dad is really working too hard. It's like working hard, it's really unimaginable how terrifying Dad's training is. Ah, 39. Speaking of which, Beasta couldn't help but shuddered. This is really no joke, really. Really. It's too scary, it's just like a hell of a workout. It makes people feel there is only endless fear, it is too terrifying. Bramank thought about it. As our strength increases, according to the character of the uncle. I'm afraid. 9. Listening to Bramanki's words, the 5 people here fell into a kind of silence. For a while, they didn't know what to say. What is the uncle's request for strength? Hee. Whitebeard smiled hard, and at the same time strengthened his heart, no matter what. He must pass the test of his uncle and be able to build his own pirate group, otherwise. In the future, he must not die here. Of course, Whitebeard also knows that building his own pirate group will also be assessed once a year. If the improvement in strength is not enough, then it will still be captured and practiced very hard. Correct. Seemingly thinking of something, Whitebeard asked, Guillaume, what is uncle doing recently? Guillaume shook his head and said, I don't know what my father is doing. It seems that my father is dealing with something special. Recently, my father has always locked himself in the room. 99. Everyone thought it was very strange. And right now, located in the castle of Alan. Bump. Bump. A dark purple demonic energy fell, as if it was about to destroy everything around it. The ground was gradually collapsing. In Alan's castle, there was naturally a training ground, and at this moment the training ground was it as the deep pit of the owner one by one. It seems that what happened just now, no one knows. Woo. After a while, Alan let out a sigh of turbidity and thought a little, the control is still not perfect. However, barely enough is enough, as long as there is a little more time, it can be completely transformed, really. For 5 months, it really took too long. Name. Edward Allen. Template. Devil of the Moon Curse Blue, 70%, Devil of Fire Lord, 100%. Demonic Chi. Fire Demonic Chi, Moon Demonic Chi. 12 Charms. Dragon Charm, Edward Kaido, Dog Charm, Edward Newgate. Ghost Mask. Inactive. 8 Demons. Demon of Fire, inactive. Hockey. Conqueror's Hockey, superior, Armament Hockey, superior, Observation Hockey, superior. During these 5 months, Alan not only ate the original Devil Fruit, but also found 5 Devil Fruit, which directly raised the template of the mantra blue to 70%. He also researched out how to transform gravity into a method of gravity. Only, or is it not perfect enough, it can only be regarded as a preliminary research, and you want to develop it completely. It still takes a while, at least, a short period of time is simply impossible to do, Alan rubbed his chin and said. However, it is possible for researchers to try it first, let's try it out with double gravity first. 39. Walk. As soon as he thought of it, Alan walked out, and soon came to the largest training ground, and there are some separate rooms here. These rooms are used for meditation. Many times, these meditations are very important for those who practice kendo. But very important. Uncle, 95. Listening to the greetings from all around, Alan waved his hand and said, little brats, go out first. I want to experiment with something, you guys are easy to die here. Okay, Uncle, 35. As soon as the little guys heard this, they immediately ran out honestly, and they all looked at everything curiously, not knowing what happened. And Alan started to study, and in this meditation room, he opened one hand, and in an instant, dark purple magic energy emerged, instantly filling the entire room, just the next moment. Boom. The entire room collapsed in an instant, turning into a rubble, burying Alan in it. F*K. Uncle, 35. A group of little guys rushed up quickly, all of them were very excited, and the uncle was buried among them. Wow. At this time, Alan stood up from the ruins and said calmly, don't worry, I have nothing to do, you go and find the craftsman to repair this destroyed meditation room, I just don't believe it still can't be successful, really yes. 39. Alan patted the dust on his body, which of course was not a problem, but walked into the next meditation room and continued to start the experiment. Boom. Boom. The meditation rooms gradually collapsed under the silent gaze of everyone, you know. There are hundreds of meditation rooms in the entire training ground, and now, in a short period of time, dozens of them have collapsed. Only a small part of it remains. You said, what is Uncle doing? 99. How could I know? Shut up. Watch quietly. 99. Uncle must be doing something useful for us. Hearing this, the little guys nodded earnestly. They recognized this very much. The uncle must be doing good things that are useful to everyone. Otherwise, there is no need for this at all. It's still an important thing. Woo. Alan spit out a thick puff of smoke at random, standing in front of a meditation room and thinking, it's really outrageous, I have failed again and again. 99. Seriously. Alan is a bit unacceptable. This has been tested dozens of times, from 5 times the gravity at the beginning, to very little at the back, the result. Now it is a very rare few tenths of gravity, and the result is still unsuccessful. It's really unacceptable. Is there something wrong with my attempt? Quote. Alan squinted his eyes and thought about this matter carefully, thinking about how to deal with 917 next. After thinking for a while, Alan murmured, anyway. In short, keep trying. Look, I just don't believe it, what the hell is this thing? Walking into the new meditation room again, Alan once again released a dark purple magical energy, but this time, it was very weak, even so weak that it was impossible to detect. Assimilate into. Looking at the demonic energy that spread out this time, Alan did not directly destroy the entire room, and a smile gradually emerged from the corners of his mouth. As long as the first step was completed, the next thing would be much easier. After Alan tried again, he carefully controlled more demonic energy to burst out gradually. The same, and with this change, the entire meditation room is changing. Next moment. Boom. The entire meditation room collapsed again in an instant, and Alan stood up from the ruins, lit a cigarette, and thought secretly, looking at it this way. It seems that there is no problem, but it still feels like it's not quite right, but you still have to think about it carefully. Where is the problem? Alan is thinking about this problem carefully. His first step has been successful. This is a very important thing. To succeed in the first step, in essence, it should become a lot easier. Father, what are you doing? 35. After Guillaume and the others learned about the situation here, they rushed over one by one, looking at the situation in front of them curiously, not understanding what it meant. Alan waved his hand and said, I'm a researcher, how can I get a gravity training room? Gravity training room. 35. Alan nodded and explained. It's like cultivating through water pressure, but the damage caused by water pressure is too great, and through the gravity training room, until your physical fitness has been improved again and again, get the improvement is a very terrifying overall improvement, which is probably like a weight-bearing cultivation, but there are still some differences in essence, if nothing else. The situation is still more troublesome. It's probably just cultivation, and the exercise is more perfect, it's probably like this, it's understandable that it's like this. 39. Alan thought about it for a moment, and that's about it. It wasn't a problem at all. Mainly, this gravity training room is really difficult. The main reason is that Alan's control of power is not subtle enough, magic. Whether it is the magic of fire or the magic of the moon, Alan is more good at fighting open and close. To defeat the opponent with absolute power, but for such exquisite control, it is not enough, and it needs to be studied slowly. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 4th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 173. The demon race brought back by the second child, the little fat man brought back by the third child. Boom. Boom. In the days that followed, Alan was roaring, and the researcher again and again, he didn't believe it anymore, darling. He didn't believe it, and he didn't understand the research all the time. He had already mastered the magic energy of gravity, but the result was still research. Don't understand this gravity training room. Alan is unacceptable, but during this period of almost a month, Alan's control of the magic energy has been greatly improved. In the past, Alan was more open and close in the battle. It seems that it is not qualified for the delicate control of the battle. And now, a lot of changes have taken place. Alan is still very good at control. In general, although he is not a master of skills, but with a little control, the power he exerts is still very good. I just don't believe it. 39. Plus, Alan couldn't help but swear, just kidding. It's been a month, and hundreds of meditation rooms have been repaired and destroyed, and repeated many times, but I want to see, not yet able to succeed. Woo. Stepping into a meditation room again, Alan let out a deep breath of turbid air, opened his hands, and a dark purple demonic energy burst out instantly, and the bursting out monstrous demonic energy exuded a terrifying aura, but it is perfectly controlled, and there is no power to destroy the meditation room at all. After all, it's been a month, and it would be the strangest thing if he couldn't even control this step, but Alan felt that it would be too embarrassing if he couldn't even do this. Wrong. 99. Straws of dark purple magic energy gradually merged into the whole surrounding meditation room. Under Alan's control, they are being meticulously merged. As time goes by, even his forehead is dripped sweat, the owner of dog spells and horse spells, although it is said that immortality will not be injured. But this kind of fusion and control consumes more of the spirit, it is so easy. If it was really that easy, Alan would not just spend almost a month. With the passage of time, Alan's wisps of demonic energy gradually poured into it, covering everything, as if nothing had happened, and as if it were gradually returned to calm. Bit by bit, slowly. With the passage of time, Everything returned to calm, and Alan's mouth also evoked a smile, and said interestingly, "It's really very good. It finally succeeded. I have been tossing for a month." Next, Alan is feeling the meditation room. Well, the gravity in the room that should now be called the gravity training room is about double the gravity. Not enough. Not enough. It's not enough at all. At least it has to be tripled at least gravity, for these little guys. 35. Is it under control? Alan began to research new things, and he was thinking carefully in his heart. If the settings were controllable, and the magnification of gravity could be adjusted casually, would it be more appropriate? Alan started researching. After all, if that's the case, then it's not a lot easier. The whole thing is a lot easier. You can try it. Alan went ahead and started researching. On the other side, wow, a pirate ship is sailing slowly. This pirate ship looks like a careful Moby Dick. The size is about the same as the Thousand Sunny, basically belonging to a different ship. It is a huge pirate ship, but it is not a problem to use it for a short time. And such a pirate ship, Newgate is standing on the pirate ship, and said casually, "Little Oz, don't be nervous, don't worry, everyone will accept you." 35. Dad. Standing beside Newgate is a man who looks about 30 centimeters in height, looks weird, has double horns on his head, huge fangs growing out of his mouth, pale green skin, and a long red head. He has long hair, long eyelashes, a skull pendant on his neck, wearing samurai armor, and a long knife hanging from his waist. Although it sounds very scary, he is actually only 30 centimeters in height, and this is obviously not his original height. He is a demon, that is, the descendant of the demon Oz, the legendary demon. In this era, is almost one of the races that have been wiped out. Oz Jr. With the extremely terrifying power of the possessed human race and the invincible height, of course. Little Oz is actually, he is a little stunted. After all, Little Oz is only 38 meters tall, and what about Oz the Devil? Demon Oz has a height of 67 meters, which is already equivalent to the height of Bumpman, and such a height is what the real demons should have. As a giant in ancient times, with a height of 60 meters, it belongs to standard. But, Little Oz's height is not surprising, after all. He is the last demon in this world, and it is already very difficult to survive. As for nutrition, of course, needless to say. This time, Newgate sailed out to sea, and as a result, he met Little Oz, brought him back, and ate a mini fruit for Little Oz. With the mini fruit, Little Oz's strength will definitely be possible in the future. Perfect play. Similarly, Little Oz has a complete nutritional supplement, and his height can also grow again in the future. Click, click. Knowing Newgate's return, the whale entrance of the closed Moby Dick slowly opened. Following the current, Newgate brought Little Oz into it, and Little Oz couldn't help it. Said, "What a powerful ship. Dad, this ship is really too big. Pipe question mark quote. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed and said, "This is the Moby Dick that I built with my eldest brother and the third child. This is the future home, and Little Oz relax, it's alright." 39. Okay, Daddy. Although he said so, Little Oz was still not so relaxed. For a demon race, he grew up alone on an isolated island. Almost all other humans wanted to hunt him down. It wasn't that Dad saved him, he was already hunted and killed. Therefore, Little Oz still has some other feelings about other people, to put it bluntly. It is the fear of human beings as an inhuman race, and of course Newgate knows about this situation. But, as long as you join the Whitebeard Pirates, these are nothing at all, and you can change them soon, to put it bluntly. These are small things, after all. As long as you join the Whitebeard Pirates, these are all small problems, everyone's family will meet. Let Little Oz know that everything is different. Dad, Daddy. 35. You are back. 55. Goo la la la. When Newgate listened to the little devil's greetings, he said with a big smile, "Where's Big Brother? I don't know what the hell is going on during this time. Dad, the uncle is still at the training ground, but the gravity training room that the uncle is studying should be almost finished. Oh, then I have to go and see. 35. Let's go. 99. Take a look with Laozi, and also see your younger brother." Oh who. A group of little guys quickly followed, and everyone was curiously looking at Little Oz, who was only 30 centimeters away from Newgate's side, and asked inquisitively, "What's your name?" 99. What? The giants. Demon race. It's amazing. It turned out to be eating mini fruits. No wonder. A group of little guys were chatting and asking, and under the enthusiasm of everyone, Little Oz gradually relaxed as time went by. After all, facing so many people, even in the heart, people who are autistic will eventually recover. And, Little Oz is not an autistic person, but the human beings he has encountered since he was a child are very dangerous people. Now, these dangerous people are no longer a problem, and naturally they are fine. Soon, the group came to the training ground, and Newgate looked at the big brother looking at the meditation room in front of him, and asked directly, "Big brother, what are you researching? How is the research? How's it going?" Alan turned his head and said, "You will know when you go in and try it out. Although it is said that the preliminary stage has been completed, but I am making it adjustable by the researcher, so that according to different strengths, when you use it yourself, you can adjust different gravity. This effect is obviously better. Yes, try it, Daddy. Newgate was not polite, and strode directly into it, and for a moment, he felt the gravity pressing on him, although it was said. This gravity is not what. For him, it seems that it is probably the same, that's the thing, but if you are exercising, the improvement you get is very important. Snapped. Newgate stepped out and asked, Brother, how many times is this gravity? Did you make it? I don't know. Luo. Go and see. One by one the little guys also came over, and all of them were very curious, not knowing what was going on. Listening to the second child's question, Alan nodded and said, After all, it should be a success. This is 1 times the gravity. Basically there is not much pressure, although it will be more tired, but it is not a big problem. Yes, of course. This kind of gravity is different from weight training. Weight training exercises your body, but your essence, that is, your internal organs, has not been trained, and now, under gravity, your internal organs will receive the same training. I see. That's it. 99. That's it. Everyone nodded immediately, indicating that they were in trouble, and Newgate asked, Brother, how many times the maximum gravity can be developed in the current situation? Now words. 99. I can get it about 100 times, but there is one problem. Although it can be developed to this level, the problem is, after it is developed, it is of little significance. If it is uncontrollable, these little guys will not be able to adapt. I am researching whether it can be adjusted manually and adjust the gravity. Newgate pondered. Brother, this should be regarded as the work of scientific researchers, right? You are a layman, so don't join in the fun here. 35. 99. All right, let the researchers handle it and see if it can be controlled. I add gravity to their bodies, so that they will not be affected by control, otherwise. With their small bodies, they are instantly crushed. Alan said that is also possible. As for the researchers, this is standard. A pirate ship the size of the Moby Dick, many of the equipment are high-tech. Do you let Alan, Newgate, Kaido do research? You let the 3 brothers fight. Research science, this is not too or your eyes smeared. Simply, let's just look like this. You can't commit it. Let professionals study it. For so many years, the 3 Edward brothers have been around the world, at least. They have also searched for a group of very good scientists. Are there any top ones? It's hard to say, but they are absolutely outstanding. At this level, they should be still not a problem, right? This is really hard to say. However, in theory, it should not be a problem. Search. A figure streaked across the sky, and the figure meandering by this was a blue dragon, and it was Kaido. Recently, after going out for 2 or 3 months, Kaido finally came back. As for why, in fact, it's very simple. Kaido went to die again and was arrested. Isn't this just the escape? Anyway, for Kaido's physical fitness, especially after absorbing the dragon spell after the divine power, it becomes even more invincible. Do you want to kill Kaido or something? It is almost impossible. That's why, under such circumstances, Kaido is going out to wave every day to wave. Every day is like a madman, not wanting to commit suicide. It's purely going out every day, just for fun. No, it's enough to come back, just. This time, Kaido's paws are holding a little fat man. Wow. 9. Dad, be careful, don't throw it away for me. Wow. With this painful howl, this little fat man is howling excitedly, bald, fat, with sunglasses, with golden braids. This is a guy who looks like a ball. At this moment I want to cry. No, Nuo de Jiao is going to make trouble. Don't make trouble. If you continue like this, you will fall down. Okay, Quinn, shut up for Laozi. Can Laozi still throw it for you? Woo. Kaido couldn't help roaring, and Quinn couldn't help groaning when he heard his father's roar. As one of the 3 original boards of Beast's Pirates, Kaido happened to meet him when he went out this time. After a good exchange, it is not clear exactly how the communication was made. In a word, Quinn is to become the adopted son of Kaido. Actually, if you calculate the age, you will find that Quinn is only 3 years younger than Kaido, but this is nothing to do. Above this sea, it is not age, but other things. This is very important thing, no wonder it is. Therefore, now Quinn has become Kaido's son, and, after subduing a son, Kaido no longer continues to wave outside, but plans to return to the Moby Dick, at least. Send this little fat man back. Actually, according to the current time point, Quinn has not joined the mad scientific research team. The team formed by Vegapunk. Now, Quinn has not joined it, but Quinn's talent as a scientist is still fully displayed. What will be the outcome in the future? This is something that cannot be determined. Search. Wow. And Kaido suddenly accelerated, echoing Quinn's deafening cries. He was too scared, mainly. He really was thrown from the sky like a ball by Dad. That is too scary. The current situation is too similar to the situation at that time. Roar. The roar resounded, and Kaido went straight into the distance. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 5th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 174. Oz Jr., Quinn, Atmos, Fossa. Dad, Abel, who was exercising, felt the breath of Kaido, and walked quickly to the castle. He happened to see the blue dragon falling from the sky, and instantly turned into a figure in the little fat man. Abel. Kaido greeted Abel carelessly and said casually, "This is your brother, his name is Quinn." Brother. Quinn looked at Abel and always felt that something was not right. However, the world of pirates is not based on age, but is divided according to strength and everything else. Since Abel is Kaido's first adopted son, then naturally, Quinn wanted to call Abel his brother, which was beyond doubt. Big brother, what about second brother? Second uncle has just returned. As for uncle's words, continue to study the gravity training room, and the research is almost done. Come on, let's go and see. 99. Kaido took Abel and Quinn to the other side. Big brother. What? Alan raised his head, looked at Kaido and said casually, "Yo. It's a good day, you two bastards, came back on the same day." Worororo. Listening to the teasing of the elder brother, Kaido couldn't help laughing, scratching his head casually, and said carelessly, "Brother. Did your research on the gravity training room succeed?" 35. Alan nodded and said, "There is basically no problem, let the scientific research staff take care of it and transform it into something that can be adjusted at will, it's not a problem." Kaido nodded and sat down directly. At this time, Alan also saw the little fat man beside Kaido, looked at the little fat man, and said interestingly, "Little fat man, what is your name?" When Quinn heard the question, he hurriedly said, "Uncle. My name is Quinn." Alan nodded and called Quinn, sure enough. Just as he knew, in the original book, the Plague Quinn, one of the 3 major kanbans of Beast's pirates. Seriously, now with the passage of time, Whitebeard in the original book the characters such as Pirates and Beast's pirates have gradually joined the current Whitebeard Pirates. In the original book, the 16 captains of the Whitebeard Pirates, Marco, Jose, Beasta, Bramank, and Namuel, all joined them. In the original book, the 43 pirate groups under the Whitebeard Pirates, Bagley, Aluin, Karma, Widub, Epoida, Andre, Doma, Squard, Makugai, 9 little guys joined it. In the original book, Abel and Quinn, 2 of the 3 major kanbans of Beast's pirates, have also joined them. More than that, there are Tiger, Gion, Tezzolo, Bullet, and Kamini 920 who have already joined the Whitebeard Pirates. This is the biggest change in the entire Whitebeard Pirates. The overall strength has been extremely terrifying. An ascension, so to speak. This should be called a metamorphic ascension in general. He, Alan said interestingly, "Nice kid. Third, I think Quinn's talent is good, I will start hell training for him in the future. It should be better." 35. What? Wow. Quinn was about to cry, even though he said it. He just joined the Whitebeard Pirates, but he knew it. This uncle's hell training is really hell, to put it bluntly. It's possible during training we'll see hell, and such training, I have to participate in it. Just imagining that Quinn was trembling, it was too scary. It was too scary. Thinking of such a possibility, Quinn was crying now, looking at Alan sadly, thinking what to say, but not knowing what to say. Ha ha ha. Goo la la la. Worororo. The 3 brothers all laughed, and Kaido said casually, "Quinn, don't be so nervous, I'll be more serious in the future. Big brother is willing to teach you, but you're not happy anymore." No. Quinn really wants to cry, but there is really no way to do it. "I don't know what to say, I really feel very helpless." Humph. A smile appeared, and Alan said casually, "Forget it, little brat, just be honest." "Yes, uncle." Quinn immediately bowed his head obediently, joking. He is very honest, this uncle, but he is really scary. Quinn is not too young, he knows a lot of things on the sea, after all. Quinn he also went to sea at a young age. Only, in terms of prestige and strength, Quinn is still a bit far behind the 3 Edward brothers, of course. No matter what, one thing is certain, Quinn knows everything that has happened, but he knows that this Edward Allen, my uncle. What a terrifying monster. It is a monster that never shows mercy, and how ruthless it is, it will only make people feel endlessly terrified. Woo. With a puff of smoke, Alan's eyes filled with a casual look, and he asked, "Old Third, when you come back this time, when are you going to leave?" 99. Got used to. The 3rd child of my family, basically AGFJ, always goes out and wanders around, and is really used to this kind of situation. What? Kaido shook his head and said, "It probably won't go out for a short time, after all, it doesn't make any sense." Ha ha ha. Stinky boy. Come on, we're going to eat. What? The 3 brothers and the 2 little guys also stood up, preparing to go to the food court to eat. While walking on the road, the brothers chatted casually. The 2nd, the 3rd, which island are we going to go to next? The nearest island. I heard that it is a very good island for tourism, let's go and see it. I heard. There is a fighting island not far away, go and see. Can. The 3 brothers are discussing this issue. For pirates. In fact, there are roughly 2 types. The first is an adventurer like Luffy. They have only one purpose from the beginning of the sea, that is a certain destination, or one piece. As for the second type, it is the Edward brothers. They are professional pirates. As pirates, do you just eat, drink, and have fun every day? In addition to daily training and plundering treasures, pirates are more often sailing the entire sea, and this kind of sailing is actually wandering around without a purpose, thinking that the island is interesting, just hanging out, that's what they do, and in such a situation, naturally it does not need to say much. After all, most of the pirates, you can't count on TNTN, that is, living on the sea every day, right? That's not the same thing as bullshit. If it's really like that, then it's the strangest thing. Mainly because it's unscientific. Wow, wow. As this pirate ship the Moby Dick. Be good. Whitebeard Pirates, how did such a monster appear here? Who knows? These pirates showed an unparalleled look of shock, and they were all filled with endless fear. This island is an island where fighting prevails. On the island, most people solve everything by fighting. And, naturally, such islands attract a large number of pirates. Soon, as the Moby Dick gradually approached, although it did not dock at the end, it stopped about 100 meters away from the port. The next moment. Click, click, as the huge whale mouth slowly opened, a small Moby Dick emerged, and everyone sat on the pirate ship, ready to land. It is worth mentioning that such a small ship originally had a total of 30 ships were built in one go, no matter if it was used for a short-term battle or a long-term one, it was actually okay. Woo. With a puff of smoke, Alan casually looked at the island in front of him with his hands in his pockets, and said interestingly, looks like a good island, boys. Just go for a walk. No problem, uncle. Oh hoo. He. The little ones are very happy too, actually. It's not that there is no Moby Dick, quite the contrary. The Moby Dick has everything, even better, but what to say? It's your own home. No matter how good looking your home is it interesting to travel? There is no doubt about it. It is still the most interesting to travel. There is absolutely no doubt about this, after all. They are a group of children, and of course they are more interested in traveling. Wow. The small boats slowly docked, and the little guys jumped up one by one, and in twos and threes they entered the island. As for those pirates, sorry, we are not interested in you, and we have nothing at all. If you are interested, give it to Laozi to be honest and you will be done. Today, let's travel happily, don't force fights, that's not good for all of us. Woo. A puff of smoke was exhaled, and Alan also landed and looked around, but said a little interestingly, the whole has the feeling of ancient Rome, let's go. Continue to walk inside to see what it looks like inside. Father, just be careful. 35. Guillaume said softly. Anyway, there are other pirates here, although it is said that the possibility of any problems is very low, but it's always good to be careful. Alan also nodded to this, pay attention that there is always nothing wrong, as time goes by. Although Alan is still crazy enough, but he has also grown more, there is no doubt that he is not alone now after all now, he not only has two younger brothers, but also has ordinary cubs. My ambition is to form the most powerful pirate group in the world, to become a monster that has never been seen before or has never come before, and rules the world with absolute power. Then, what is the result? Or rather, what should be done? Actually there is no doubt about it. It is absolutely no doubt about it. While I want them to grow up, I also want to protect their safety. They buy their own lives and protect their safety. This is the responsibility they should have. Snapped. Alan took Guillaume to the deeper part of the island, and Newgate and Kaido were also separated, and they went to chat separately, maybe buy a little something on the way. Bastard. 35. Do you want to fight? Come. Am I afraid of you? The two little ghosts looked at each other, their eyes flashed with sharp light, and each one's eyes were very excited, but they would not shrink back like this. Only, what they don't know is that there are two people watching the fight between these two little devils in the dark. Newgate, White Bay stand here. Dad, looking at his father's appearance, Whitby probably guessed it. If nothing else, he should have two more younger brothers next. Whiteby asked, Dad, do you think the two of them are great? Newgate nodded and said, it looks like two very good little guys, but I don't know if they have a family. If they don't have a family, they are suitable as Laozi's sons. Whiteby shook his head and said softly, actually, people who are fighting here, how can they have family members who are fighting for that little bit of food? Indeed. Newgate also nodded with emotion, his hometown used to be the same, there was no family at all, it seemed that everything was like this, he just passively endured all this, but what's better for me is that I have a big brother, and I have grown up since I was a child. To take care of yourself. Actually, the reason why Kaido grew steadily and did not deviate during the process of growth is very important. The little ghosts who once followed Kaido's orphanage all joined the Whitebeard Pirates and became new guy. Special's adopted son and daughter, and Kaido was also at a young age, did not join the army, did not experience that kind of betrayal. Instead, he became the younger brother of Alan and Newgate. Although he lived the life of a pirate since he was a child, his heart has undergone different changes. After all, Kaido in the original book was betrayed by his hometown and went completely crazy. For one piece. In fact, I can't say that I am not interested. But more of it is to start a war that sweeps the world, and there is only one left such an idea. And now Kaido is more like a guy who can do whatever he wants. I don't care what happens next, it doesn't matter anyway. This is the character of Kaido now. But, such a character is also a good thing. Well, 35. Newgate shook his head, not saying anything, the whole person remained calm, and Whitebeard was also smiling, she could probably guess what the father was thinking, actually. This is not a bad thing, at least, for Dad, it's really not a bad thing. Even say, this is a good thing for many people, it is because of the character of their father that they have grown up step by step to today, and they have come over step by step, that's it. For every child, it's all very joyful. They have a family of their own, a new family of their own, and every step of the effort now is for a better life, which is an undoubted thing. Same. This is also their efforts to report to their uncle, father, and uncle. They know that this is a sea of people eating people. If they don't work hard enough in this sea, then everything will be meaningless. Whitebeard, you go see these two little guys, what's going on with them? Okay, Daddy. 35. Whitebeard was going to see the two little devils, but Newgate stood there, thinking about something, looking at the two outstanding little devils, and also secretly said, this time. A good devil fruit, I don't know if it is suitable for these two little devils. Soon, Whitebeard also knew the names of these two little guys, Atmos and Fosa, both of them were orphans on this island. They lost their parents when they were very young, and now they rely on such crazy hard work, to be able to have a little food. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. 6th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect. Chapter 175. Attack the Kingdom of Adam. Shiki, who was almost killed. Snapped. When Alan returned to the port, he saw that Newgate was leaving with a little girl in Whitebeard. When he came back, there were two more little ghosts. He couldn't help but be surprised, especially the configuration of these two little ghosts is too iconic. One of the little devils wore a pair of horn-like decorations. Although they looked worn out, they were still very precious. At first glance, they knew that it was no accident that they were the relics left by the little devil's parents. The second kid, although he is not young, has already started smoking a cigar, especially looking at the picture of me hanging out, which makes Alan feel very interesting, of course. For these two kiddies the name can be guessed by a little guess. Atmos. Fosa. In the original book, the captains of the 13th and 14th divisions of the Whitebeard Pirates, but in terms of strength. Although it is said, Newgate is emphasizing that it is only the division of the division, the difference in strength is not big. But look at others. Marco fight the high-end game, Summit War fights Admiral, Endgame battle faces Teach, and Ghost Island battle faces two major disasters. The result Atmos was humiliated and left home, being controlled by Doflamingo like a clown, and Fosa is not that good either, and his strength is obviously not good enough, I can only say. In terms of real strength, it's still a shame. Is a bit different from a horizontal line. Probably, that is, so it is. Alan looked indifferent, and said casually, second child, I didn't say you are very efficient. So fast, you just took two adopted sons again. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed and said, brother. Didn't this happen to happen? I think these two little guys are very good. 99. Uncle. Both Atmos and Fosa bowed their heads obediently, and Alan said casually, okay. You don't have to be so polite with Lao Su. From now on, we will all be Lao Su's people. How is shopping? As almost there, we can leave too. 99. Neil also made a wave of purchases when he came to this island. This is a habit, after all. The storage equipment of the Moby Dick is very amazing and can be stored for a very long time. 50 years have been no problem. And under such circumstances, there are so many people on board, and this group of big stomach kings, if the training volume is keeping up, it is really very edible. Because of this is of course it is necessary to buy a lot of materials. Anyway, it is a small problem to be able to put it back after buying it. Let's go. Almost. 55. Everyone smiled and nodded, and they were all ready to return. Wow. Halala. Soon. The small pirate ships were about to return, and Neil had already gone back. With the return of everyone, Alan just planned to start a wave of banquets. Big brother. 99. Second brother. Third brother. 35. Problem occurs. 35. Hearing this, Alan was also stunned for a moment, and said in astonishment, what's the situation? Neil took out the information and said seriously, this is the latest information. The Flying Sky Pirates attacked the Kingdom of Adam, and the result? It has now been completely defeated, it is said. The entire Flying Sky Pirates, except for Golden Lion Shiki alone. Others should all stay in Adam's kingdom. F*K. Alan widened his eyes in astonishment, and said in shock, my dear. Is the Adam kingdom so strong? What? This? The three Edward brothers are more ignorant than the other. Don't be kidding. This is the strength of the Adam kingdom. All of them are half a pound of strength, but they were directly abolished by Adam kingdom. This moment, Alan is stunned, what the hell is this? It's not the same as what he knew at the beginning. The specific situation, Neil began to describe. 5 months ago, husband. Eve sat in front of a device, while Adam, an old and a young body, were placed on the sides. She said gently, husband, everything is ready, you must be careful, don't fail. He. The old Adam said in a hoarse voice. The old man has already prepared it. After so many years, everything is in front of him. If it fails, the old man will be too embarrassing. Let's start. 35. Eve activates the device, and as the device activates, an invisible energy emerges. This is the power of the soul, and Adam has already prepared all of this. Over time, if there is a he who can see, the soul will find it. Adam's soul has emerged from the old body, and at the same time, young Adam has also emerged a soul, but this soul is too weak. No. It should be blank, like a blank sheet like paper. It gives the impression of a newborn baby, but he is not a newborn at all. In fact, this is the case. The young Adam is the created puppet, and he is the most suitable body created by the old Adam for himself. In fact, Adam's preparation is sufficient, and the young Adam is also the most perfect body. As long as there is more time, everything will be no problem. Unfortunately, Adam still failed in the end. This era is about to run wild. Everything must be prepared. With a little bit of movement, this old soul devoured the blank soul directly. The next moment, the entire old soul actually tore apart its own soul, leaving only a small part of it, and the rest everything just dissipated. The old soul gradually merged into the young body in front of him. Husband. Eve is very worried. She is very nervous, for fear that there may be a little problem. Her devil fruit is very special. It is with this special devil fruit that she has an almost eternal life, but her husband does not. Not so. At this time, the old Adam has completely lost his life, and the body that was only maintained by a machine has completely lost all his life. It can be said that he has reached a limit. Bump. And at this moment, when Eve became more and more worried, all of a sudden, the heart began to beat violently, the young Adam's heart began to beat violently, and a terrifying breath burst out. This breath has surpassed the General Marine Admiral, and it is not inferior to Simon's strength. Although it is said, it still can't reach the level of monsters like Sen and Rox, but it is true that the owner is like Simon. This is also the strength of a monster. Adam's eyes suddenly opened, and the beating heart seemed to have proved what it represented next. Woo. Slightly let out a breath of turbid air, Adam sat up, looked at his young body and arms, and suddenly burst out laughing. Ha. Finally successful. How many years? Hundreds of years. For Adam, he finally has such a young body again, which is really great. Clenching a fist with one hand, feeling this familiar power, the familiar young body, Adam's eyes become endlessly sharp. Husband. He. Eve rushed over, while Adam hugged Eve and said with a smile, Eve. Everything has to start anew. Now, I only have about 1/5 of my strength. Enough. But Eve said very seriously, as long as your husband has recovered, this is nothing but a very simple matter. This body was created according to your youth, and it has been corrected in the most perfect way. The flaws have been corrected, leaving only the most perfect core. In terms of qualifications, all aspects have been improved. Adam also nodded, stood up, felt the vitality of his body, and said with a smile, it's not bad, that's it. The old man doesn't care so much anymore. Let's go, Eve. Take me to see this belong to my time. It is good. With a smile on her face, Eve took Adam out of the infiltrated basement, and next. Adam Kingdom will welcome a new owner, and the only owner of the entire Adam Kingdom. This is the most important thing. Other than that, besides everything else, it's not worth mentioning at all. Soon, the two stood condescendingly at the tower and looked down at the kingdom of Adam, where black and white meet, and Adam showed an interesting smile. He opened his hands and felt the wind blowing on his body. That smile, the meaning is too strong. Great. How many years have passed? I don't know how many years have passed. But it doesn't matter anymore. After so many years, I finally stood under the sun again in his own place. He raised his head and murmured, I am. Laozi is resurrected again. Next. Just let you know that what you did once came with a price. Snapped. Clenching his fist with one hand, his killing intent is so terrifying. Adam is very dissatisfied with his defeat in the past, and is full of endless dissatisfaction. This matter will not end like this, and it will not end like this. When the curtain falls, everything will not be like this. No matter what he used to be, it has become the past, and after so many years. Very good. Everything has finally arrived, and then there is no need to be polite. Anything is not necessary, you're welcome. Ask for flowers. Humph. A cruel smile emerged. Adam has made all preparations, but it will not end like this. 5 days ago. Search. A huge pirate ship has appeared in the sky. This is the flying pirate group, and at this moment, Shaki is standing at the bow of the ship, looking down at everything below, and his eyes emerge. A sharp and terrifying light. Gia ha. Is this the kingdom of Adam? What a weak look. 35. His eyes were filled with endless disdain. Shiki seemed to not put the entire Atom Kingdom in his eyes at all. In fact, among most pirates, the Atom Kingdom is not worth mentioning. Why? The reason is actually very simple. Is the Kingdom of Atom strong? Stop making trouble. This is something they thought impossible, back then. The three Edward brothers, but only three of them, robbed Atom Kingdom of a precious tree atom. And so many years have passed, could it be said that they are still not as good as the three Edward brothers? Bullshit. This is absolutely impossible. In particular, according to Shiki's character, it's totally unacceptable, it's just a joke. Laozi is weaker than the three Edward brothers. It's like a joke, it's absolutely impossible, this is what Shiki thinks. Of course, you can't say that such an idea is wrong, but it's definitely not right. Shiki's ambition and arrogance are beyond doubt. In fact, everyone who leaves Rock's Pirate has enough arrogance and crazy ambition. This is their arrogance and madness, there is absolutely no doubt about it. Point 0. Humph. 9. His eyes were filled with endless grimness, Shiki's mouth grinned openly, and he said grimly, "Little ones. Atom's kingdom looks very beautiful. It's a very good thing to bring such a kingdom under control." A terrifying killing intent emerged, and Shiki's breath became more and more terrifying. Golden Lion Shiki. His character is like this, he is arrogant, and crazy. After the Whitebeard Pirates attacked the Sombra organization, and directly became famous in the world, after being called the world's #1 pirate group, Shiki is very unhappy. Just kidding, how is it possible that he is not an opponent? It's like a joke. His Flying Sky Pirates are the #1 pirates in the world, this is Shiki's idea, this is Shiki's ambition, it can be said. Shiki's heart has always been like this is absolutely undeniable. The thing is, because of this, there are some fundamental reasons, no matter what you have to admit is that the current Shiki strength can be said to be more and more terrifying, and more hideous, and so is his ambition in rapid expansion. The governor. Everything is ready. Humph. Shiki's mouth widened, and he said slyly, "Is everything ready? Very good. Then let me take a look at the strength of this mere Atom Kingdom, or rather, what kind of strength does it have? What? 99. Search. Licking the corner of his mouth slightly, Shiki lit a cigar. The killing intent in his eyes can be said to be very terrifying, and it is full of endless arrogance. The pride of this. Definitely something undeniable. After all, as the captain of the Flying Sky Pirates, Shiki definitely has such strength. The people who follow Shiki are all thinking at this moment, what is the next situation, but thinking about it carefully is to discover, it seems that this is the case. The mere kingdom of Atom was nothing more than that. The three Edward brothers were almost pushed horizontally, and they were not the opponent's country at all. Now they will be their opponents of the Sky Pirates. Stop making trouble. This is something they absolutely cannot believe. For the Sky Pirates, each of them is full of endless arrogance and arrogance. In their opinion, their Flying Sky Pirates definitely beat the so-called Whitebeard Pirates and Roger Pirates. This is not a level opponent at all, there is absolutely no possibility of comparison, and it is meaningless. That's it. This is what they think. Arrogance, self-confidence, this is what almost every pirate has, it's not a strange thing. If you are a pirate, you don't even have such an idea. If so, that's the weirdest thing ever. And now, the Flying Sky Pirates have launched an attack on Atom Kingdom. PS. 5,000 word chapter. Daily 6 updates. First update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Please collect.